Hello everyone, and welcome to the Saiyan What Ifs. So we are back with an interesting movie on what if Goku bonded with Venom and awakened the Saiyan Symbiote. God Goku x Chi x Black Cat Marvel x Dragon Ball. But before we start, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy my content. Let's start the story. Chapter 1. Cosmic Collision. The universe shuddered. Goku felt it first. A subtle tremor in the fabric of reality that rippled through his consciousness like a stone dropped into still water. He paused mid-punch, his fist hovering inches from the reinforced training dummy Bulma had designed to withstand Saiyan's strength. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he tilted his head skyward, Onyx E. Yes, narrowing at the cloudless blue expanse above Capsule Corporation's gravity chamber. Something's wrong, he murmured, lowering his arms and closing his eyes to better sense the disturbance. The energy signature wasn't key, at least not any form he recognized. It felt alien, ancient, and somehow, hungry. Unlike the familiar cosmic presence of gods like Beerus or Whis, this energy seemed to exist between the spaces of reality itself, neither fully here nor elsewhere. Goku's curiosity overcame his caution. With practiced ease, he pressed two fingers to his forehead and focused on the strange energy pulsation. The instant transmission technique engaged, molecules disassembling as he vanished from the gravity chamber. High in the stratosphere, Goku rematerialized, the thin air no concern for his Saiyan physiology. What greeted him, however, halted his breath more effectively than any lack of oxygen could have. A fracture hung suspended in the sky, a jagged, asymmetrical tear with DGES that shimmered between violet and midnight black. Stars visible through the rift didn't match any constellation patterns Goku recognized from Earth's night sky. Occasionally, bolts of energy, her lightning nor ki, would arc across the opening, causing the tear to expand incrementally with each discharge. What in the world? Goku whispered, floating closer. His senses extended outward, trying to comprehend the phenomenon. The tear radiated chaos energy, similar to what he'd felt when Beerus and Champa had nearly destroyed the barrier between universes during their contest. But this was different. This wasn't merely a breach between the 12 universes he knew existed. This felt like something else entirely. A sudden surge of power from the rift sent Goku tumbling backward through the air. He stabilized himself quickly, dropping into a defensive stance as the tear pulsed, its edges stretching wider. Through the expanded opening, he glimpsed unfamiliar skyscrapers and a city skyline that resembled none he'd ever visited. I need to tell the others, Goku decided aloud, turning to descend back toward Capsule Corporation. Before he could move, however, a tendril of darkness shot from the rift. Moving with sentient purpose, Goku's combat instincts flared. He twisted midair, narrowly avoiding the shadow-like appendage as it whipped past his shoulder. The substance, her solid nor liquid, seemed to hesitate before reorienting toward him again. Hey, what are you? Goku called out, genuinely curious despite the potential threat. The tendril paused, as if considering his question. Then, without warning, it split into multiple branches that surged toward him from different angles. Goku's body responded automatically, his form blurring as he evaded with superhuman speed. One tendril grazed his GI, leaving a momentary dark stain that seemed to crawl across the fabric before dissipating. You're pretty quick, Goku remarked, a hint of excitement entering his voice. New challenges always sparked his interest, and this mysterious substance clearly possessed some form of intelligence. As if responding to his acknowledgement, the tendrils retreated, coalescing into a roughly humanoid shape that hovered opposite him. No features formed on what might have been considered a face. Just a smooth, obsidian surface that reflected Goku's own curious expression back at him. Can you understand me? Goku asked, relaxing his stance slightly but remaining alert. The figure tilted what appeared to be its head, the surface rippling like disturbed water. Then, in a voice that seemed to bypass Goku's ears and speak directly to his mind, it responded. Host. Potential. Strong. Asterisk. Goku's eyes widened. Host. What do you mean? And what are you, exactly? The figure didn't answer immediately. Instead, it seemed to be assessing him, the inky surface constantly shifting and reforming. Finally, it extended a limb toward him in what might have been a gesture of peace or perhaps invitation. Danger. Coming. Need. Symbiosis. Asterisk. Before Goku could respond, the rift behind the entity pulsed violently. A shock wave of energy burst outward, momentarily blinding even Goku's enhanced vision. When he could see again, the shadowy figure had vanished. "Where did you?" Goku began, then felt something cold touch the back of his neck. The sensation spread rapidly, like ice water flowing down his spine and across his shoulders. He reached back instinctively, but his fingers met nothing but his own skin. Yet the feeling continued, a foreign presence seeping into his very cells. "Do not resist," the voice whispered in his mind. "Symbiosis necessary for survival. Your power, extraordinary. Asterisk. Get out," Goku shouted, flaring his ki in a defensive burst. He golden aura of Super Saiyan erupted around him, illuminating the stratosphere. For a moment, the cold sensation retreated, and Goku thought he'd succeeded in expelling the entity. Then it surged back, stronger than before, flowing through his ki like it was swimming through water. The golden energy surrounding him began to develop streaks of black, the colors intertwining in a display that would have been beautiful if not for the invasion of his body. Resistance futile, but not enemy, ally, partner. Asterisk. Goku gritted his teeth, considering his options. He could escalate to Super Saiyan 3, perhaps even tap into the divine ki of Super Saiyan God, but something told him this entity wasn't malevolent. Curious, certainly. Alien, definitely, but not evil. Cautiously, he lowered his power level, allowing the Super Saiyan transformation to fade. "What are you trying to do?" he asked aloud, sensing the entity could hear his thoughts but preferring to speak normally. "Bond, share, enhance, protect. We are Clintar. You are different, powerful, perfect." Asterisk. The word, Clintar, resonated strangely in Goku's mind, feeling both unfamiliar and somehow ancient, as if it should mean something to him. As the entity, the Clintar, continued to merge with him, flashes of memory that weren't his own flickered through his consciousness. A planet of writhing darkness. Hosts of different species across countless worlds. A civilization that spanned galaxies. War, peace, symbiosis both forced and willing. And underneath it all, a strange familiarity when the Clintar encountered his Saiyan biology, a recognition that shouldn't exist. The sensation of another consciousness touching his own wasn't entirely new to Goku. He'd experienced fusion before, both with the Patara earrings and the fusion dance. But this was different, less an equal merging and more like cohabitation. "We sense ancient connection. Your species, known to us long ago." Asterisk. Saiyans, Goku asked, surprised. "You've encountered Saiyans before." Instead of words, the Clintar responded with another barrage of images, a primitive planet Vegeta, generations before Goku's time. Warrior Saiyans, still in the early evolutionary stages of their species development. And among them, black-veined warriors with abilities beyond their brethren, bonded with symbiotes not unlike the one now joining with him. The revelation stunned Goku momentarily, giving the Clintar opportunity to complete its bonding process. The cold sensation transformed, becoming a comfortable warmth that spread throughout his body. He felt his muscles densify, his senses sharpen beyond their already superhuman levels. His GI, torn from earlier training, knitted itself back together, the white fabric momentarily darkening before returning to normal. "Bond complete," the voice announced, now crystal clear in his mind. "We are one." Asterisk. Goku flexed his fingers, marveling at the strange new sensations coursing through him. "This is different," he admitted aloud. "I don't feel like I've lost control. It's more like partnership." Asterisk. The Clintar finished for him. "We do not dominate. We enhance. Stronger together." Asterisk. A sudden explosion the rift drew Goku's attention back to the cosmic tier. The opening had widened considerably, now large enough for something, or someone, to pass through. Energy signatures flared on the other side, levels unlike any Goku had sensed before. Not key users, but definitely powerful in their own right. "Danger." Asterisk. The symbiote warned. "They come. They follow." Asterisk. "Who's following you?" Goku asked, dropping into a fighting stance as the rift pulsed again. Hunters. Users. Those who would enslave our kind. We fled. Found you. Safe harbor. Asterisk. The explanation raised more questions than it answered. But Goku had no time to press for details. A humanoid figure emerged from the rift, armored in sleek technology that Goku didn't recognize, with weapons that hummed with energy that set his new symbiotic senses on edge. Target located, the figure announced in a mechanical voice, raising an arm that transformed into something resembling a cannon. Symbiote containment protocol engaged. Goku didn't wait for the attack. With speed that surprised even him, enhanced by the symbiote's influence, he closed the distance, appearing directly before the armored hunter. I don't know who you are, he stated calmly. But I think you're chasing my new friend here. And I'd appreciate it if you'd stop. The hunter recoiled slightly, clearly not expecting direct confrontation. Subject displaying unusual symbiosis patterns. Recalibrating approach. The cannon fired. Not a beam as Goku expected, but a net of pulsing sound waves that made the symbiote recoil within him. Pain lanced through Goku's body. Unlike anything he'd experienced before, not the honest pain of physical combat, but something that targeted the very bond between him and the Clintar. Sonic attack, asterisk the symbiote explained through their mental link, its voice strained. Weakness, disrupts our molecular structure, asterisk. Goku gritted his teeth through the pain. Then we need to end this quickly. With a burst of speed, he circled behind the hunter, avoiding the sonic weapon's range. Before the armored figure could turn, Goku delivered a precisely calculated strike to the weapon arm, strong enough to disable but not destroy. The hunter's armor cracked, circuits sparking as the sonic emitter died. Impossible, the mechanical voice stated flatly. Human physiology cannot withstand symbiote bonding at this level without corruption. Well, I'm not exactly human. Goku replied with his characteristic grin, allowing a flicker of his power to surface. The golden aura of Super Saiyan manifested again, but now interwoven with ribbons of obsidian energy that spiraled around him like living shadows. I'm a Saiyan from Earth. The hunter's sensors visibly scanned him, lights flashing across the armored helmet. Unknown species detected. Power levels exceeding parameters. Tactical retreat advised. Before Goku could respond, the hunter activated some form of propulsion system and shot back toward the rift. Goku considered, urged pursuit but hesitated. Rushing into an unknown universe without preparation seemed unwise, even by his usually impulsive standards. Wise decision, asterisk the symbiote commented. Their world, dangerous for us now. Many hunters, asterisk. We should tell my friends about this, Goku decided, turning away from the rift. Bulma might know how to close that thing, and Vegeta should know about the Saiyan connection you showed me. As Goku began his descent back toward Earth's surface, the symbiote shifted within him, almost like it was getting comfortable. Your body, perfect symbiosis. Better than any host we have known. Your power, feeds us, strengthens bond, asterisk. And what do I get out of this arrangement? Goku asked, genuinely curious rather than demanding. The symbiote seemed amused by the question. Already enhancing, strength, speed, senses, healing, and more, potential unlocked. Ancient power, dormant in Saiyan blood. We can awaken together, asterisk. The promise of new power always intrigued Goku, though he'd long since learned to be cautious about shortcuts to strength. We'll see about that. For now, let's focus on that rift in your hunters. As they descended through the cloud layer, Goku suddenly clutched his head. Bombarded by images he couldn't possibly know, a sprawling city of impossible skyscrapers, heroes and villains with extraordinary abilities, a world where Ki wasn't the primary source of power but something else entirely. What was that? He gasped, stabilizing his flight. Our world, asterisk the symbiote explained. The universe beyond the rift. Different rules, different powers, different gods, asterisk. The mention of gods caught Goku's attention immediately. Gods, like Beerus and Whis, number, different, entities of cosmic scale, devourer of worlds, living tribunal, one above all, powers beyond comprehension, asterisk. The information was overwhelming, and Goku decided to table further questions until they reached Capsule Corporation. As the distinctive dome-shaped buildings came into view, however, the symbiote grew agitated. Caution. Bond new. Others may fear, react poorly. Attempt separation. Asterisk. My friends won't hurt you, Goku assured it, though he wasn't entirely certain how Vegeta, in particular, might react to the news that an alien entity had bonded with his rival. But maybe we should keep this between us until I understand more about what you are. The symbiote's agreement came as a sensation rather than words, a feeling of receding, of hiding beneath Goku's skin where it wouldn't be detected. The dark threads that had visibly intertwined with his aura disappeared, leaving only his natural energy signature perceptible. Goku landed in the Capsule Corporation courtyard, immediately sensing familiar power levels inside the main building. Vegeta was in the secondary gravity chamber, no surprise there, while Bulma's much lower but distinctively intelligent energy signature emanated from her primary laboratory. Trunks was with her, his hybrid Saiyan power level fluctuating as he presumably helped with some experiment. Bulma first, Goku decided aloud. She needs to know about the rift. As he approached the lab entrance, the symbiote stirred again, projecting curiosity. This one, scientist, builder, mind like the Richards. Asterisk. Richards, Goku questioned, pausing outside the door. Brilliant one from our world. Stretches. Builds doorways between realities. Sometimes causes problems like the rift. Asterisk. Goku filed away the information for later, knocking on the laboratory door with uncharacteristic restraint. Typically, he'd have CMPLY teleported inside or walked in unannounced, but the symbiote's caution seemed to be influencing his behavior subtly. Come in, Bulma's voice called out, followed by a small explosion and her characteristic creative cursing. Trunks, I told you the blue wire, not the red one. They both looked blue to me, Mom. The half-Saiyan boy protested. Goku pushed open the door to find Bulma standing amid a cloud of smoke. Safety goggles pushed up onto her forehead and blue hair wild with static electricity. Trunks sat cross-legged on a workbench, holding what appeared to be a partially disassembled device with too many buttons and blinking lights for Goku to comprehend. Oh, Goku, Bulma exclaimed, waving away smoke with one hand. Perfect timing. We could use a test subject. A test participant. For this new gravity modulation wristband. It should allow you to adjust to different gravity levels without. She paused, narrowing her eyes as she really looked at him. What's wrong? Why? I've got that. World is in danger again look. Goku couldn't help but smile at how well his old friend could read him. That obvious, huh? There's something you need to see, Bulma. Something in the sky, way up in the atmosphere. A kind of tear in space. Bulma's expression shifted instantly from casual to serious. She set down her tools and reached for a tablet computer. Define. Tear in space. Are we talking dimensional rift? Wormhole. Time distortion. Goku scratched the back of his head. The first one, I think. I can see another world through it, a city that doesn't look like anywhere on Earth. And something, came through it. Something came through. Bulma repeated, already typing rapidly on her tablet. Satellite images flashed across the screen as she accessed Capsule Corporation's private orbital network. Why didn't the perimeter alarms go off? I designed them to detect any extra-dimensional incursions after that whole Janemba incident. Different frequency. The symbiote supplied in Goku's mind. Different universe entirely. Not parallel. Separate cosmology. Asterisk. It's not from any of our 12 universes, Goku relayed, surprising himself with the technical explanation. It's from somewhere else entirely. Different rules, different cosmology. The borrowed word felt strange on his tongue. Bulma paused her typing to stare at him. Since when do you use words like cosmology, Goku? Quote. He felt the symbiote's equivalent of a wince. I picked it up from Whis. He offered lamely. Bulma clearly didn't believe him, but the why of the situation took precedence over Goku's unexpected vocabulary expansion. Found it. There's definitely something unusual at about 50,000 feet. Energy readings are off the charts, but in patterns I've never seen before. Not ki, not divine energy, not even like the time rings or Zeno's power. This is completely novel. Trunks hopped off the workbench, peering at his mother's tablet with interest. Cool. Is something going to try to destroy the world again? Can I fight it this time? No one's destroying anything if we can help it, Bulma said firmly, though she ruffled her son's lavender hair affectionately. Goku, we need more information. How big is this tear? Is it expanding? And what exactly came through it? Goku hesitated, unsure how much to reveal about his new passenger. It's about the size of a house now. But growing. And what came through was. He chose his words carefully. A hunter of some kind. Wearing advanced armor, using weapons I've never seen before. They were chasing something else. Something that, discretion advised, asterisk the symbiote cautioned. Something that escaped back through before I could see it clearly. Goku finished, the lie uncomfortable but necessary for now. The hunter went back through the rift after we had a little disagreement. You fought them. Bulma sighed, unsurprised. Of course you did. Well, at least they're gone for now. But that rift needs to be closed before anything else decides to visit. I'll need to develop some kind of dimensional stabilizer, maybe adapt the technology from my time machine research. She was already moving around the lab, gathering components and muttering calculations to herself. Goku recognized the signs of Bulma in full invention mode. She'd be occupied for hours, if not days. I should tell Vegeta, Goku decided. If something comes through that rift looking for a fight, he'd never forgive you if you didn't let him know. Bulma agreed without looking up from the device she was already assembling. He's in gravity chamber 2, probably at some ridiculous multiple of Earth's gravity. Try not to break anything when you two inevitably start sparring. Goku nodded, heading for the door. As he walked through the corridors of Capsule Corporation toward the secondary training facility, the symbiote stirred again, more insistently this time. The other Saiyan will sense us. Strong, perceptive, dangerous if threatened. Asterisk. Vegeta's complicated, Goku admitted quietly. But he's changed a lot over the years. He's not the same person who first came to Earth looking to destroy it. We see memories, asterisk the symbiote commented. Former enemy, now, rival, friend, bond unclear, asterisk. All of the above, Goku chuckled. Vegeta would probably die before admitting we're friends. But he's saved my life more times than I can count, and I've done the same for him. We push each other to get stronger. Competition, improvement, symbiotic relationship without physical bonding. Asterisk. Goku paused outside the gravity chamber door, struck by the symbiote's insight. I never thought of it that way, but I guess you're right. The control panel beside the door indicated the gravity level inside, 500 G. Intense for most beings in the universe, but merely a good workout for a Saiyan of Vegeta's caliber. Goku pressed the intercom button. Vegeta, it's me. We need to talk. Something's happening. There was a pause, then a grunt that might have been acknowledgement. The gravity reading decreased rapidly, returning to Earth normal before the door hissed open. Vegeta stood in the doorway. Sweat-drenched and scowling as usual, arms crossed over his battle suit. What now, Kakarot? Another tournament? Another god wanting to play games with the fate of the universe? Or did you just interrupt my training because you're bored? Despite the harsh words, Goku detected the underlying tone that he'd come to recognize as Vegeta's version of friendly greeting. Before he could respond, however, Vegeta's expression changed, dark eyes narrowing as they fixed on Goku's face with sudden intensity. What's different about you? The Saiyan Prince demanded, uncrossing his arms and taking a half-step back into a subtle defensive stance. Goku felt the symbiote tense within him. Different. I don't know what you mean, he attempted, knowing even as he spoke that Vegeta wouldn't be fooled. Don't insult my intelligence, Vegeta snapped. Your energy signature is contaminated. There's something else there, something not Saiyan, not even of this universe. His eyes widened slightly in realization. This is related to whatever you came to tell me, isn't it? You've done something foolish again, Kakarot. The accusation stung, not least because it wasn't entirely inaccurate. Goku sighed, glancing around to ensure they were alone in the corridor. It's complicated, Vegeta. There's a rift in space, a tear opening to another universe entirely. And something came through it. Something that's now with me. Vegeta's ki flared instinctively, the beginnings of his blue aura manifesting around clenched fists. You've been possessed, infected. After all we've been through, you let some extra-dimensional parasite. Not parasite. The symbiote's voice roared in Goku's mind with such force that he physically winced. Show him. Show strength. Asterisk. Before Goku could decide how to proceed, the symbiote acted on its own, manifesting partially on the surface of his skin. Black, oil-slick tendrils emerged from beneath his GI, crawling across his arms and chest like living shadows. His eyes, normally onyx black already, developed an alien sheen, the whites disappearing into darkness. "It's not a parasite, Vegeta," Goku stated, his voice overlaid with a subtle haw. Harmonic quality as the symbiote influenced his vocal cords. "It's a symbiote, a Clintar, and it knows about Saiyans, from its universe, from ancient times." Vegeta's aura intensified, but he didn't attack immediately. Curiosity momentarily overriding caution. "Explain." Quickly. The symbiote receded slightly, allowing Goku's appearance to return mostly to normal while maintaining enough presence to communicate through him. The Clintar are a species that bond with hosts, enhancing their natural abilities. In the symbiote's universe, they encountered Saiyans long ago, before our race developed spaceflight. Some Saiyans bonded with them, becoming stronger warriors. "Impossible," Vegeta scoffed, though his stance relaxed fractionally. "I know the history of our people. There's no mention of any symbiotic species in Saiyan legends." "Show him memories," asterisk the symbiote urged. "Ancient records. Truth buried by time." Asterisk. Goku extended his hand toward Vegeta, palm upward in a non-threatening gesture. "It can show you. Through me. If you're willing to see." Vegeta regarded the offered hand with deep suspicion. "And if this is a trick to infect me as well?" "It doesn't work that way," Goku assured him. "The symbiote can only bond with one host at a time, and it's chosen me. This is just sharing memories." After a moment's hesitation, Vegeta reached out and clasped Goku's forearm in a warrior's grip. The moment their skin made contact, the symbiote facilitated a transfer of images, not just to Vegeta, but reinforcing them in Goku's mind as well. They saw primitive Saiyans, still dwelling in caves on planet Vegeta. Their tails more pronounced and their features more bestial. A meteor shower that wasn't merely rock and ice, but contained pods of organic material, Clintar Symbiote. Seeking refuge after escaping from some cosmic threat. The strongest Saiyan warriors approaching the crashed pods, curious rather than fearful. The first bonding, voluntary on both sides, creating a warrior whose power surpassed all others. Generations of Saiyan Clintar symbiosis followed, the enhanced warriors leading their tribes to prominence. Their power grew with each generation, developing techniques that channeled ki through the symbiote's malleable form to create weapons and armor of extraordinary potency. They could transform into great apes like other Saiyans, but maintained control. The symbiotes helping to tame the primal rage. Then came the purge. A Saiyan king, fearful of being supplanted by the symbiote-enhanced warriors, turned the tribes against them. A civil war erupted, devastating the developing civilization. The symbiotes were hunted to near extinction on planet Vegeta, the survivors fleeing to the stars. The king ordered all records of the aberrations destroyed. The very memory of them erased from Saiyan history. Vegeta jerked his arm away as the vision ended, his expression unreadable. "This changes nothing," he stated flatly, though the slight tremor in his voice betrayed his disquiet. "If anything, it proves these creatures are a threat to Saiyan purity." Expected response, asterisk the symbiote commented privately to Goku. "Pride. Fear of contamination. Fear of not being strongest. Asterisk. It's not about purity, Vegeta," Goku countered gently. "It's about strength. About potential. The ancient Saiyans who bonded with the Clintar were developing abilities we've never seen before. They might have even been on the path to discovering the power of the gods before they were wiped out." Vegeta's eyes narrowed at the implication. "And you believe this passenger of yours can help you surpass Super Saiyan Blue? Surpass Ultra Instinct?" "I don't know," Goku admitted honestly. "But I'm willing to find out. And right now, we have bigger problems. The rift is growing, and more beings from the symbiote's universe might come through, hunters with technology specifically designed to capture or kill Clintars." Vegeta considered this information tactic. Al's mind already shifting to the potential threat. "Does Bulma know about the rift?" "Yes, she's already working on something to close it. But she doesn't know about." Goku gestured to himself, indicating the symbiote. "And the woman doesn't suspect. She's usually more perceptive than that. I think she knows something's different," but she was pretty distracted by the readings from the rift. Vegeta grunted, a sound that could have indicated anything from grudging approval to mild constipation. Keep your parasite under control, Kakarot. At the first sign that it's influencing your actions against us, I won't hesitate to separate you from it, permanently if necessary. Not parasite. The symbiote objected again, though less vehemently than before. It's not a parasite, Goku repeated aloud. And I'm still me, Vegeta. The symbiote isn't controlling me, we're working together. So you say. Vegeta turned back toward the gravity chamber. I'll assist Bulma with monitoring the rift. You should inform the Namekian about this development. His telepathic abilities might be useful in assessing your companion's true intentions. The suggestion was surprisingly practical coming from Vegeta, and Goku nodded in agreement. Good idea. Piccolo might be able to communicate with the symbiote directly. As Vegeta disappeared back into the gravity chamber, the door sealing behind him, Goku exhaled slowly. That went better than expected. The prince fears what he does not understand, but respects strength. We'll watch. Wait for weakness. Asterisk. That's just Vegeta's way, Goku explained. Heading back through the corridors toward the exit. He'll come around once he sees what we can do together. If opportunity for symbiosis with him presented, would accept eagerly. Power. Exceptional. Asterisk. The comment gave Goku an unexpected pang of something almost like jealousy. Let's focus on our bond for now. I still have a lot to learn about what you can do. As Goku stepped outside into the afternoon sunlight, he considered his next move. Piccolo was likely at the lookout with Dend, or possibly training with Gohan. Either way, instant transmission would get him there quickly. Before he could focus on either energy signature, however, a familiar voice called out from behind him. Goku, there you are. He turned to see Chi-Chi approaching, a basket of groceries balanced on one hip. Her expression held its usual mixture of exasperation and affection, black hair pulled back in her customary bun, though a few strands had escaped to frame her face. Mate, asterisk the symbiote identified immediately. Bond strong. Different from ours but powerful. Asterisk. Chi-Chi, Goku greeted, genuinely happy to see his wife despite the complicated situation. What are you doing here? What am I doing here? She repeated incredulously. I've been looking all over for you. You disappeared from training this morning without a word, missed lunch, which I specially prepared, by the way, and no. Gohan tells me there's some kind of space anomaly that has everyone worried. She set down the grocery basket to plant her hands on her hips. Were you planning on telling me any of this? Goku fell. The symbiote's curiosity about this dynamic, the fearsome warrior being scolded by a physically weaker human female. I'm sorry, Chi-Chi. Things happened pretty fast, and I needed to tell Bulma about the rift right away. Chi-Chi's expression softened slightly. Well, at least you're alright. When Gohan said you'd gone to investigate by yourself. She stepped closer, reaching up to brush a SMU.DGE of dirt from his cheek, a gesture so familiar and intimate that Goku felt the symbiote recoil slightly in surprise. As her fingers touched his skin, however, Chi-Chi froze. Her dark eyes widened, fixed on his face with an intensity that reminded him uncomfortably of Vegeta's earlier scrutiny. Goku, she said softly, dangerously. What happened to you? She senses, asterisk the symbiote observed with something like admiration. No special powers but knows her mate. Impressive. Asterisk. It's complicated, Goku began, the excuse already sounding weak to his own ears. It always is with you, Chi-Chi sighed. But there was more resignation than anger in her voice. Whatever it is this time, just tell me straight. Are you possessed again, cursed, dying, planning to sacrifice yourself to save the universe? Just give me the bad news so I can start planning accordingly. The matter-of-fact way she listed these possibilities struck Goku as both funny and sad, a reminder of how many crises his wife had weathered over their years together. He reached out to take her hands in his, a rare gesture of physical affection from the typically oblivious Saiyan. I'm not dying or sacrificing myself, he assured her. And I'm not possessed exactly. I've bonded with something. Something from another universe that came through the rift. Chi-Chi didn't pull away, but her hands tensed in his grip. Bonded. What does that mean, Goku? Rather than explain with words, Goku decided a demonstration would be more effective. It's okay, he said, partly to Chi-Chi and partly to the symbiote. Show her. Just a little. The symbiote hesitated, then extended a small tendril from Goku's wrist, a ribbon of living darkness that coiled around their joined hands like a curious snake. Chi-Chi gasped but, to her credit, didn't scream or pull away. What is it? She whispered, watching the tendril move with wary fascination. It's called a Clintar, a symbiote, Goku explained. It's intelligent, Chi-Chi. It can think and feel. It bonded with me to escape hunters from its universe, and now we're working together. The tendril extended slightly, forming a small, almost flower-like shape above their hands. As if attempting to appear non-threatening for Chi-Chi's benefit. Greeting, ** the symbiote communicated, though Goku realized Chi-Chi couldn't hear its mental voice. Respect made bond, not interfere, ** it says hello, Goku translated, and that it respects our relationship. Chi-Chi gave a short, slightly hysterical laugh. Well, that's something, I suppose. Only you, Goku, only you will find an alien symbiote from another dimension and decide to bring it home. She extracted one hand to gently touch the flower-shaped tendril, her natural compassion overcoming caution. Does it have a name? The question caught both Goku and the symbiote by surprise. In their brief time together, Goku had never thought to ask, and the symbiote hadn't offered. Names. Different concept for Clintar. Become one with host. Take aspects. Create new identity together. It says names work differently for its kind, Goku relayed. When they bond with someone, they create a new identity together. Chi-Chi considered this, head tilted thoughtfully. So the two of you need a name for when you're together like this. The symbiote rippled with what Goku sensed was approval. Yes, new entity, new name, tradition, I guess we do, Goku agreed, somewhat bemused by this development. Any suggestions? Chi-Chi observed the black tendril as it returned to a more neutral shape, coiling around Goku's wrist like a bracelet before being reabsorbed into his skin. What about Saiyan? It's like a combination of Kakarot and Symbiote. The suggestion resonated immediately with the symbiote. A wave of approval washing through their bond. Good name. Strong. Simple. Appropriate. Saiyan. Goku repeated, testing the sound. I like it. We like it, he corrected, acknowledging his partner. Chi-Chi nodded, seemingly satisfied with handling this latest supernatural development in her husband's life. All right then, Saiyan it is. Now, will you be home for dinner, or is there another world-ending crisis that needs handling first? The normalcy of the question in the face of such an extraordinary situation made Goku laugh. The rift still needs closing, but Bulma's working on that. I should talk to Piccolo first. See if he can help us communicate better. But after that, yes, I'll be home for dinner. Good. Chi-Chi picked up her grocery basket again. I'll make extra. This symbiote business probably works up an appetite, and heaven knows you eat enough for 3 people already. She paused, a thought occurring to her. It doesn't eat people, does it? Chocolate. * the symbiote supplied immediately. Prefer chocolate. Phenethylamine compounds. Stimulating. *. It says it prefers chocolate. Goku translated, amused by the somewhat sheepish tone in the symbiote's mental voice. Something about chemical compounds that it finds stimulating. Chi-Chi's expression brightened considerably. Well, that's a relief. I can certainly add chocolate to the shopping list. UCH better than people or souls or whatever else might have been on the menu. She rose on tiptoes to kiss Goku's cheek. Be careful with Saiyan, and come home in one piece, both of you. As Chi-Chi walked away toward the Capsule Corporation guest quarters where she'd evidently been staying, the symbiote stirred within Goku, projecting confusion. Accepted quickly. No fear. Why? Goku smiled, watching his wife's retreating form with genuine appreciation. That's Chi-Chi. After everything she's seen and been through because of me, a symbiote is probably not even in the top 10 strangest things to happen. And she's stronger than she looks, not in fighting power, but in here. He tapped his chest, indicating his heart. Strong mate. Good choice. I got lucky, Goku acknowledged, more insightful about his relationship than most gave him credit for. Now, Let's find Piccolo and see if he can help us communicate better. Focusing on the distinctive energy signature of his Namekian friend, Goku placed 2 fingers to his forehead. The instant transmission technique engaged, but with a difference. The symbiote enhanced the process somehow, making the transition smoother, the sensation of molecular disassembly less disorienting. They rematerialized at the lookout, the ancient platform floating serenely above the earth. Piccolo stood near the edge, cape billowing in the high-altitude wind, apparently meditating. Without opening his eyes, he spoke. I was wondering when you'd show up, Goku. I sensed the disturbance hours ago. The rift? Goku asked, approaching his old friend and former enemy. That, Piccolo agreed, finally opening his eyes. And the change in your energy signature. You've brought something back with you. As always, Piccolo's perception impressed Goku. The Namekian's eyes narrowed as he studied Goku more closely. It's inside you, he stated rather than asked. Bonded at a cellular level. Not possessing you, but coexisting. Perceptive, asterisk the symbiote commented. Telepathic capabilities. Useful, asterisk. Yes, Goku confirmed simply. Its name, our name together, is Saiyan. It's a symbiote called a Clintar, from the universe on the other side of the rift. Piccolo grunted, uncrossing his legs and standing in one fluid motion. And I assume you want me to attempt telepathic communication with it, to verify its intentions. Am I that predictable? Goku laughed. In some ways, a hint of a smile touched Piccolo's usually stern features. In others, you're the most unpredictable being I've ever encountered. Hold still. Piccolo placed one hand on Goku's forehead. Green fingers contrasting against tan skin. The Namekian closed his eyes, concentrating as he established a telepathic link. Greetings, Clintar, Piccolo's voice resonated directly in both Goku's and the symbiote's consciousness. I am Piccolo, guardian of Earth and ally of Goku. The symbiote's response came not in words but in impressions, respect for Piccolo's abilities, acknowledgement of his importance to Goku, and a complex series of memories from its own universe showing similar telepathic species it had encountered. Interesting, Piccolo murmured aloud. Your species is ancient, even by Namekian standards. You've bonded with countless hosts across many worlds. More impressions flowed. The symbiote's journey through space, its encounters with both benevolent and malevolent hosts, its escape from hunters who would weaponize its kind, and finally, the cosmic accident that brought it to their universe. And your connection to Saiyans? Piccolo probed. Show me. The same historical vision that Goku had shared with Vegeta unfolded, but Piccolo's telepathic abilities allowed him to perceive more details, the specific genetic compatibility between Saiyans and Clintars. The unique way the symbiote could enhance and channel ki energy, the potential for evolutionary leaps that had been cut short by the purge. Piccolo broke the connection, stepping back with a thoughtful expression. It's telling the truth, as far as I can determine. The symbiote genuinely believes the bond is beneficial to both of you, and it harbors no malicious intent toward Earth or its inhabitants. Goku felt the symbiote's satisfaction at being vindicated. What about the Saiyan connection? Did you see anything more about that? The compatibility is remarkable, Piccolo acknowledged. Saiyan physiology seems uniquely suited to symbiosis with the Clintar, more so than nearly any species it has encountered. The potential power boost is significant. Understatement. The symbiote interjected in Goku's mind. Together, can reach beyond current limits. New transformation possible, asterisk. It says we can go beyond my current limits, Goku relayed, excitement creeping into his voice. That a new transformation might be possible. Piccolo's expression grew cautious. Power always comes with a price, Goku. The symbiote's memories showed that some hosts became corrupted by the abilities they gained, their worst impulses amplified alongside their strengths. Different with Saiyan bond, asterisk the symbiote insisted. Compatibility reduces corruption risk. Your heart pure, good host, asterisk. The symbiote says the risk is lower with Saiyans, especially one with a pure heart, Goku explained. He looked out over the edge of the lookout, toward the distant rift visible as a shimmer in the upper atmosphere even from this distance. And we might need that power if more hunters come through. Or worse, Piccolo added grimly. The symbiote's memories showed entities in its universe that rival even the gods of destruction in power. If the rift continues to grow, the implication hung in the air between them. Goku nodded, determination setting his features. Then we need to be ready. Bulma's working on closing the rift, but until then, Saiyan and I will train, learn what we can do together. Piccolo regarded him thoughtfully. There's a balance to be found here, Goku. Don't lose yourself in this new power. Balance key, asterisk the symbiote agreed. Not domination, harmony, true symbiosis, asterisk. We'll find that balance, Goku promised. Right now, I should check on Bulma's progress with the rift. And then, he added with a characteristic grin, I promised Chi-Chi I'd be home for dinner. As Goku prepared to use instant transmission again, Piccolo called out, Goku. Be careful with this bond. The symbiote's intentions seem genuine, but power changes people, even you. Goku nodded acknowledgement before vanishing, the warning echoing in his mind as he and his W partner teleported back to Capsule Corporation. The symbiote, however, had the last word as they rematerialized outside Bulma's lab. Power doesn't change who you are, Saiyan. It reveals who you've always been. Asterisk. The sentiment resonated with Goku more deeply than he expected, raising questions about identity and purpose that he typically avoided through action rather than introspection. For now, though, there was a rift to close and a new power to understand, philosophical questions could wait. As if sensing his resolve, the symbiote merged more fully with his cells, its presence a comforting weight beneath his skin. Together, they stepped forward to face whatever might come through the tear between worlds. Saiyan was ready. Chapter 1 End Chapter 2, Foreign Power. Goku awoke before dawn, consciousness surfacing not from the usual depths of dreamless sleep but from something altogether different, a state of semi-awareness where his mind had remained partially active throughout the night. The ceiling of his modest mountain home came into focus with startling clarity. He could see individual wood grain patterns in the beams overhead, counting each tiny ridge and whorl without effort despite the pre-dawn darkness. Morning, Saiyan, asterisk the symbiote's voice whispered through his mind, no longer foreign but already familiar after just one day of bonding. Sleep pattern different with us. More efficient, less vulnerable, asterisk. Is that why everything looks so sharp? Goku murmured, keeping his voice low to avoid waking Chi-Chi, who slept peacefully beside him. Enhanced all senses, vision, hearing, smell, touch, taste heightened significantly, cellular structure optimized during rest cycle, asterisk. Goku sat up slowly, marveling at how his muscles responded, not just strong, as they had always been, but somehow more perfectly synchronized. Each fiber seemed to contract exactly as intended, without the microscopic inefficiencies that even his disciplined physique normally possessed. He focused on his wife's sleeping form. With his newly enhanced hearing, her heartbeat formed a rhythmic bassline to the symphony of sounds now available to him, the distant trickling of the stream half a mile from their home. The rustling of small nocturnal animals returning to their burrows as dawn approached, even the gentle shift of air currents through the forest outside. Her scent, too, registered with unprecedented clarity, the clean fragrance of her shampoo, the natural warmth of her skin, the lingering aroma of the herbs she'd used in last night's meal. This is, Goku struggled to find the right words. Overwhelming, the symbiote suggested. Amazing, Goku corrected, smiling faintly. But yeah, a lot to process. He rose from bed with unconscious grace, crossing the room in absolute silence, another gift from the symbiote, which automatically adjusted his footfalls to eliminate sound. His training GI hung over a chair, but before he could reach for it, black tendrils extended from his skin, weaving themselves into the familiar orange and blue pattern over his body. Goku stared down at the perfect replica of his usual outfit, running his fingers over the surface. It felt identical to fabric but was clearly composed of the symbiote's malleable form. That's convenient, he observed, testing the garment's flexibility with a few experimental stretches. It moved exactly like his normal GI, but with a subtle resilience that suggested superior durability. Clothing inefficient. Damage easily. Restrict movement. We provide better protection. Adapt as needed. Asterisk. But can you make it heavier? For training, Goku asked, always thinking about how to increase the challenge. In response, the symbiotic GI instantly gained weight, pressing down on Goku's shoulder. And limbs with the same resistance as his weighted training clothes. Density adjustable, can simulate any gravity condition. More efficient than mechanical means. Asterisk. Goku grinned, excitement building at the possibilities. We should test what else you can do. Somewhere away from the house, though. He moved to the window, sliding it open without a sound before glancing back at Chi-Chi. Part of him wanted to wake her, to share this exhilarating new experience. But another part, perhaps influenced by the symbiote's cautious nature, suggested letting her sleep. There would be time for explanations later, after he better understood these new abilities himself. She worries, always worries. Let her rest. Asterisk. You're right, Goku agreed softly, surprised by the symbiote's perception of his wife's emotional state. He slipped through the window and took to the air, flying not with the usual flare of ki energy but with a strangely silent propulsion, the symbiote somehow containing extremely ning his energy output to eliminate the characteristic aura that normally surrounded him during flight. The mountain landscape spread beneath him, illuminated by the first hints of approaching dawn. His enhanced vision picked out details he'd never noticed before despite living in these mountains for years. The precise patterns of erosion in distant rock faces, the subtle variations in foliage that indicated different soil compositions. Even thermal variations that showed as faint color shifts in his perception. Your world beautiful, asterisk, the symbiote commented, a note of wistfulness in its mental voice. Different from ours, less crowded, more natural energy, asterisk. What was your world like? Goku asked, genuinely curious as they soared over a particularly dramatic cliff face. Images flowed. His mind. Impossibly tall structures of glass and metal, crowds of humans and other beings moving through canyons of urban development, skies filled with flying vehicles of advanced design, and occasionally figures soaring under their own power like himself, though using different means. Your universe has its own warriors, Goku observed from the memories. Heroes, villains, power users, different sources, mutation, technology, cosmic exposure, magic, gods, asterisk, and the symbiotes. Where did they fit in? A darker series of images formed, symbiotes being weaponized, used by both heroes and villains, hunted, studied, feared. But also protected by some, understood by a few, forming true partnerships rarely but meaningfully. Misunderstood, potential squandered, used as tools, weapons. Rare true bond, like ours, asterisk. The sentiment carried genuine emotion, something like pride mixed with relief. Goku sensed that his acceptance of the symbiote as a partner rather than merely a power source was significant. They descended into a familiar clearing, one of Goku's regular training grounds, far enough from his home to avoid disturbing Chi-Chi with the inevitable noise and energy discharges. The eastern sky had begun to brighten, casting long shadows across the open space. All right, Goku said, rolling his shoulders and settling into a relaxed stance. Let's see what we can do together. Begin basic assessment. Test strength, speed, reflexes, then energy manipulation. Asterisk. Goku nodded agreement, then launched into a series of increasingly complex martial arts forms. The difference was immediately apparent. Movements that were already masterful became something transcendent. Each punch cut through the air with perfect efficiency, each kick executed with mathematically precise angles. Each transition between stances flowing like water. This is incredible, Goku remarked, completing a particularly challenging sequence without even a hint of exertion. It feels like you're predicting my movements before I make them. Not predicting, enhancing, eliminating micro-hesitations. Optimizing neural pathways, reading muscle intention before conscious thought. Asterisk. Like Ultra Instinct, Goku realized, referencing the divine state he'd achieved during the Tournament of Power. But without having to empty my mind. Similar concept, different mechanism. Ultra Instinct separates consciousness from action. We integrate more deeply, mind and body unified. Asterisk. Curious to test the limits of this enhanced coordination, Goku accelerated his movements, pushing to speeds that would normally blur even to trained observers. The world around him seemed to slow in his perception, allowing him to observe every detail even as he moved faster than most beings could track. A stand of bamboo at the edge of the clearing provided the perfect test subject. Goku flashed forward, executing a sequence of strikes too rapid to count. He stopped on the opposite side of the bamboo, turned, and watched. D as the plants remained standing for 3 full seconds before sliding apart into perfectly even segments, cut by the precision of his strikes. Impressive control, asterisk the symbiote acknowledged. Now test strength, asterisk. Goku approached a massive boulder at the clearing's edge, one he'd used for strength training in the past. Normally, lifting it required focused effort, even for his Saiyan physique. He grasped the rough stone surface, expecting to feel the familiar strain. Instead, the boulder rose as if it were hollow, offering no more resistance than a plastic toy. Surprised, Goku almost threw it too far before adjusting his force application. "Whoa," he exclaimed, carefully setting the boulder down. "That's a significant boost. Are you augmenting my muscles somehow?" Multiple enhancements. Muscle fiber efficiency improved 340%. Neural transmission speed increased 215%. Skeletal reinforcement applied. Plus symbiote structure provides additional force multiplication. Asterisk. Goku whistled, impressed by the specific percentages. You can measure all that. Constantly analyzing host biology. Optimizing continuously. Current configuration at 37% of potential optimization. Asterisk. Only 37%. Goku blinked in surprise. What would 100% look like? Requires deeper integration. Time. Trust. Adaptation of both symbiote and host physiology. Current limitation primarily psychological, your subconscious resistance to full optimization. Asterisk. That made sense to Goku. Despite his excitement about the new abilities, some part of him was maintaining boundaries, still adjusting to sharing his body with another consciousness. Fair enough, he acknowledged. Let's try something more challenging. How about energy manipulation? This was the aspect Goku was most curious about. Ki control formed the foundation of his fighting style and his most powerful techniques. Would the symbiote enhance these abilities as well, or possibly interfere with them? He centered himself, cupping his hands at his side in the familiar stance for his signature technique. Me. Energy began to gather between his palms, but immediately Goku noticed a difference. The usual blue-white sphere forming in his hands now contained threads of inky black, like living shadows weaving through the energy construct. Me. The sphere grew, power condensing to a point of brilliant intensity. The black threads expanded with it, forming intricate patterns throughout the energy, not diluting it, but somehow focusing it, containing it more efficiently than Goku had ever managed on his own. Energy leakage reduced 89%. Containment efficiency increased 173%. Power output potential elevated. Asterisk. Goku thrust his hands forward, releasing the beam toward the sky to avoid damaging the landscape. What emerged? It wasn't merely more powerful, it was fundamentally different. The Kamehameha wave shot upward with its familiar blue-white brilliance, but now encased in a helix of black symbiote material that spiraled around the energy, preventing the usual dissipation that occurred at the edges. The result was a beam that maintained its coherence and power far longer than normal, piercing the clouds above BEF, or finally dispersing at an altitude that must have approached the stratosphere. Goku lowered his hands, staring at them in wonder. That was at least twice as powerful as my normal Kamehameha, and I wasn't even pushing close to full power. Symbiote material conducts energy, contains it, directs it, can shape energy constructs with greater precision than biological control alone. Asterisk. Could we do the same with other techniques? Spirit bomb. Instant transmission. All energy-based abilities can be enhanced. Some more than others. Spirit bomb particularly interesting, gathering energy from other beings. Symbiote can serve as additional conduit, processing external energy more efficiently. Asterisk. The possibilities made Goku's mind race. Each of his techniques, already formidable, could potentially reach new levels of effectiveness with the symbiote's assistance. And what about transformations? Would Super Saiyan forms be affected as well? As if reading his thoughts, which, Goku realized, it probably was, the symbiote responded. Transformations complex. Super Saiyan involves fundamental cellular energy shift. Symbiote must adapt to each form. Initial transition may be turbulent. Asterisk. Quote, maybe we should try a smaller transformation first, Goku suggested. Like Kaioken, it's a technique rather than a true transformation, so it might be easier to integrate. Reasonable approach. Proceed with caution. Will attempt to synchronize with energy fluctuation pattern. Asterisk. Goku nodded, widening his stance and centering his energy. The Kaioken technique was fundamentally about multiplying one's base power through perfect energy control, pushing the body beyond its normal limits for short periods. It was precisely controlled strain, balanced on a knife's edge of sustainability. Kaioken. The characteristic crimson aura erupted around him, but immediately Goku sensed something different. The symbiote, attempting to integrate with the technique, added its own substance to the energy field. Black tendrils wove through the red aura, creating a crimson and obsidian flame effect that whipped around his body with greater intensity than the standard technique. Power surged through him, multiplying not by the usual factor of 2 that basic Kaioken provided, but by something significantly higher. His muscles bulged, veins standing out as the enhanced energy coursed through his system. Power multiplication exceeding parameters, asterisk the symbiote warned, its mental voice strained. Calculating 8.7x base power. Beyond standard Kaioken limits. Asterisk. That's almost Kaioken times 10. Goku exclaimed, struggling to maintain control. The technique was already pushing beyond what he'd intended, approaching levels that required intense concentration to sustain safely. Symbiote amplifying effect. Difficult to regulate. Energy patterns chaotic. Asterisk. The ground beneath Goku's feet began to crack, rocks levitating around him as the gravity-distorting effects of his power expanded. Trees at the clearing's edge bent away as if in a hurricane, their trunks groaning under the pressure. We need to stabilize it, Goku managed through gritted teeth, feeling the technique beginning to slip beyond his control. The symbiote was clearly trying to help contain the energy, black tendrils visibly working to weave through and constrain the crimson aura, but the power continued to build. Asterisk C. No. Contain. Multiplication factor, increasing. With a sound like thunder, the energy field around Goku exploded outward. The shock wave flattened trees for 100 yards in every direction and a plume of dust and debris shooting skyward. When it cleared, Goku stood at the center of a newly formed crater, breathing heavily, the symbiote-generated GI torn in places but rapidly repairing itself. Well, he panted, that was more exciting than I expected. Apologies, asterisk the symbiote responded, sounding genuinely contrite. Underestimated technique complexity. Energy multiplication crete. Feedback loop with symbiote enhancement. Will refine approach for next attempt. Asterisk. Goku laughed, the kind of carefree sound that had often confused his enemies and endeared him to his friends. Even partial failure was valuable information to him, a learning opportunity rather than a disappointment. No apologies needed, he assured his partner. That's how training works. We try, we fail, we adjust, we improve. The symbiote's response carried a hint of surprise, as if it hadn't expected such easy forgiveness. Your approach to failure, unusual. Most hosts demand immediate perfection. Asterisk. Perfect's boring, Goku replied simply. The challenge is what makes it fun. This philosophy, so central to Goku's character, seemed to resonate with the symbiote. He felt something shift in their connection, a deepening of understanding. A stronger alignment between their consciousnesses. We will adapt better next time. Learn control parameters. Calculate precise enhancement ratios. Asterisk. I'm sure we will, Goku agreed, surveying the devastation around them with a slightly embarrassed expression. Though maybe we should find somewhere more remote for our next training session. Chi-Chi's going to kill me when she sees what happened to the forest. As if summoned by her name, Goku suddenly sensed a familiar energy signature approaching rapidly from the direction of their home. His enhanced hearing picked up the distinctive sound of Chi-Chi's aircar long before it came into view. Made approaches. Agitated emotional state detected. Asterisk. Yeah, I can tell, Goku sighed, running a hand through his wild hair. She probably felt that energy surge from miles away. The small yellow vehicle crested the nearest hill moments later, setting down at the crater's edge. Chi-Chi emerged, still wearing a simple nightgown with a hastily thrown-on jacket, her hair loose around her shoulders rather than in its usual bun. Her expression shifted from concern to exasperation as she surveyed the destruction. Goku, she called, picking her way carefully down the crater's slope. What in the world was that? The whole house shook. I thought we were having an earthquake. Sorry, Chi-Chi, Goku replied, scratching the back of his head in his characteristic gesture of sheepishness. We were just testing out some new abilities and things got a little intense. Chi-Chi repeated, then understanding dawned. You mean you and the symbiote, Saiyan, was it? She remembers our chosen name, ** the symbiote noted with what felt like approval. Show respect. Demonstrate value to mate bond. *. Before Goku could respond verbally, the symbiote acted independently, extending from his body to rapidly repair the crater around them. Black tendrils shot outward, pulling displaced earth back into position, straightening flattened grass. Even partially raising fallen trees. The process took mere seconds, leaving the clearing still obviously damaged but considerably less catastrophic in appearance. Chi-Chi stopped in her tracks, eyes widening as she witnessed the display. Well, she said after a moment, that's certainly useful. Better than you leaving messes for me to clean up, at least. Assistance with domestic tasks possible. Can reduce mate's workload, strengthen relationship. *. Goku relayed this offer, somewhat awkwardly. Saiyan says it could help with chores and stuff around the house too. If you wanted. Chi-Chi's expression softened slightly, a small smile tugging at her lips. As that's so, well, I won't turn down help with the dishes. She moved closer, studying Goku's face with careful attention. You look different this morning. Not just the outfit, but something in your eyes. Goku hadn't considered that his appearance might have changed subtly. Different how? Sharper somehow. More aware. She reached up to touch his face, fingers tracing along his cheekbone. And your skin feels different too. Smoother. Cellular optimization includes dermal layer. Increased elasticity. Improved regeneration. Enhanced immune response. *. The symbiote says it's optimizing my cells, Goku explained. Making improvements to how everything works. Chi-Chi's hand dropped to his chest, where his heart beat beneath the symbiotic GI. And how do you feel? Is it uncomfortable having another being inside you like this? Goku considered the question seriously. Not uncomfortable, no. Different, definitely. But in a good way, I think. Like having a partner who's always there, helping me be better. Truth. * The symbiote confirmed privately. Partnership not parasitism. Mutual benefit. Growth for both. *. Chi-Chi studied him for another moment, then nodded slowly. Well, as long as you're still you, Goku. That's what matters to me. Of course I'm still me. Goku replied with a laugh. Just me with some new abilities. Speaking of which, we should probably keep training somewhere else. I promised Bulma I'd check on her progress with the rift today anyway. The rift, Chi-Chi repeated. Concern returning to her expression. Is it getting worse? I'm not sure. That's why we need to check. But don't worry. Between Bulma's genius and our new powers, we'll handle whatever comes through. Chi-Chi's sigh was the familiar sound of a woman who had long ago accepted that her husband would forever be involved in world-saving activities. Just be careful, and try not to let this symbiote push you into taking unnecessary risks. You're already reckless enough on your own. Wise counsel, *. The symbiote commented. We'll implement additional safety protocols. *. Saiyan agrees with you. Goku informed her with a grin. Says it'll try to keep me safer. Well, at least one of you has some sense, Chi-Chi replied, but her tone was affectionate. She rose on tiptoes to kiss his cheek. I'm going back to make breakfast. Try not to destroy any more of the countryside before you eat. As she turned to climb back up to her aircar, the symbiote rippled beneath Goku's skin. Apparently processing the interaction. Mate bond strong despite frequent separation. Unusual relationship pattern but functional. Respect her resilience. *. Chi-Chi's one of a kind. Goku agreed quietly as they watched her vehicle lift off. Not many women would put up with me disappearing to save the world all the time. In our universe, similar patterns with heroes. Complex relationships. Difficult balances. Really, your heroes have trouble with work-life balance too. The concept amused Goku. Many parallels. Different powers, similar challenges. Some better at balancing than others. With Chi-Chi heading home, Goku decided it was time to check on Bulma's progress. Let's head to Capsule Corporation. And maybe let's try instant transmission with your Hank. Emmons again. That felt different yesterday. Can optimize molecular disassembly process. Reduce transition discomfort. Extend range potentially. Asterisk. Goku placed 2 fingers to his forehead, focusing on Bulma's distinctive energy signature. The familiar sensation of instant transmission began, but with the symbiote's involvement, the process felt dramatically different. Instead of the momentary discomfort of having his atoms scattered and reassembled, Goku experienced something more akin to flowing through space, his body maintained in a semi-coherent state guided by the symbiote's structure. They rematerialized in Bulma's laboratory with unprecedented precision, appearing exactly 3 feet behind where she stood working at a complex control panel. The usual small sound of air displacement that accompanied instant transmission was absent, rendering their arrival completely silent. Goku opened his mouth to announce their presence, but the symbiote sent a warning. Heart condition detected. Elevated stress markers. Sudden shock potentially dangerous. Asterisk. Understanding immediately, Goku cleared his throat softly instead of speaking loudly as he normally would have. Even so, Bulma jumped slightly before turning around. Goku, how long have you been standing there? She demanded, hand pressed to her chest. Just arrived, he assured her. Sorry if I startled you. Bulma narrowed her eyes, studying him with the same scientific curiosity she applied to her inventions. Your instant transmission has changed. No sound, no energy signature fluctuation. And that outfit, she gestured to his symbiote-generated GI. That's not fabric, is it? Perceptive, intelligent, dangerous if she decides we're threat. Asterisk. No, it's Saiyan, the symbiote, Goku explained, deciding honesty was the best approach with Bulma. It can generate clothing, enhance my abilities, even improve my techniques. Rather than appearing concerned, Bulma's eyes lit up with scientific fascination. Fascinating. A semi-sentient alien biomaterial capable of integrating with an enhancing host physiology. She circled Goku, examining the symbiote-generated clothing from all angles. The applications are potentially revolutionary. Is it communicating with you constantly? Does it have access to your memories? Can it replicate any material, or only those it's familiar with? What's its cellular structure like? Is it carbon-based? The rapid-fire questions made Goku's head spin slightly. Yes to the communication, yes to memory access I think, not sure about the materials question, and I have no idea about its cellular structure. Can answer technical questions, asterisk the symbiote offered. Extensive knowledge of own biology. Asterisk. Saiyan says it can explain its biology better than I can, Goku relayed. Bulma's excitement visibly increased. It can speak through you. Or does it have its own vocal capabilities? Can it manifest independently? Before Goku could answer, the symbiote extended a tendril from his shoulder, forming a small head-like shape with approximations of eyes and a mouth. When it spoke, the voice was unlike anything Goku had heard before, not quite masculine or feminine, with an odd resonant quality that seemed to vibrate the air itself. We can manifest partially. Full separation not possible after bonding. Communication through host easiest, but direct speech possible with effort. Bulma took a half step back, then immediately leaned forward again, scientific curiosity overcoming momentary surprise. Incredible. A true symbiotic relationship rather than parasitic. The independent consciousness is maintained while still integrating with the host's biological systems. The symbiote's small manifested head turned toward the various equipment around the laboratory. Its simplified features somehow conveying curiosity. Your technology, different from our universe. Less advanced in some areas. More advanced in others. Particularly energy manipulation. Different universe technology. Bulma's eyes practically sparkled with interest. What kind of advancements does your world have that ours doesn't? What about space travel, medicine, artificial intelligence? Goku cleared his throat, gently interrupting what promised to be hours of technical exchange. Maybe we can do the science talk later. I came to check on your progress with the rift. Bulma's expression sobered immediately. Right, the rift. Not good news, I'm afraid. It's growing. Slowly but steadily. And the energy patterns are becoming more complex. She turned to a large monitor display, ing what appeared to be a 3-dimensional model of the tear in space. See these fluctuations. They're increasing in both frequency and amplitude. The display showed the jagged rift pulsing with various colors, each apparently representing different energy signatures. As Goku watched, ripples spread outward from the tear, distorting the surrounding space-time fabric represented by a grid pattern. "What does that mean exactly?" he asked, trying to understand the implications. "It means the barrier between our universes is weakening," Bulma explained grimly. "Each fluctuation represents potential instability, a moment when something might pass through in either direction." The symbiote's manifested head turned toward the display, its simplified features somehow conveying alarm. "Hunters will detect increasing fluctuations. We'll investigate. We'll pursue." "Hunters?" Bulma asked, looking between the symbiote and Goku. "Beings from the symbiote's universe who capture and weaponize clintars, their species," Goku explained. "I encountered one briefly yesterday, but it retreated back through the rift." "Not just hunters," the symbiote added privately to Goku. "If rift continues expanding, others may come. Heroes investigating. Villains seeking opportunity. Powers beyond comprehension drawn to dimensional anomalies. Cayenne is worried that more than just hunters might come through if the rift keeps growing." Goku relayed to Bulma. "Their universe has a lot of powerful beings who might be attracted to this kind of phenomenon." Bulma chewed her lower lip thoughtfully. "That tracks with my readings. The energy signature of the rift is increasingly acting like a beacon, broadcasting its presence across dimensional barriers. If beings in that universe have technology or abilities sensitive to such disturbances, they'll come investigating," Goku finished. "How close are you to figuring out how to close it?" "I'm working on a dimensional stabilizer," Bulma replied, steering to a half-assembled device on a nearby workbench. "The theory is sound. It should generate a counter-frequency that will allow the natural tension of dimensional barriers to reassert itself, sealing the rift." "But," Goku prompted, hearing the hesitation in her voice, "but I need more data on the specific quantum signature of the other universe. Without that, the stabilizer might only seal our side temporarily, creating pressure that could result in an even larger tear elsewhere." The symbiote's manifestation bobbed slightly, seeming to nod. "Can provide quantum signature data. Have inherent knowledge of home universe's dimensional constants." Bulma's eyes widened. "You do. That would be incredibly helpful. If you can provide those constants, I might be able to complete the stabilizer within days rather than weeks." "We will assist," the symbiote confirmed. "Benefit both universes to restore barrier integrity." As this exchange occurred, Goku suddenly tensed, his enhanced senses detecting a new presence. "Someone's coming," he warned, turning toward the laboratory door moments before it slid open. Vegeta stood in the doorway, arms crossed over his battle suit, expression as severe as ever. His eyes immediately fixed on the small symbiote manifestation hovering near Goku's shoulder. "I see the parasite is making itself at home," he remarked coldly. The symbiote's manifestation rippled with obvious irritation. "Not parasite, symbiote. Different. Mutual benefit. So you keep saying," Vegeta replied, stepping into the laboratory. "And yet I can sense its influence on you, Kakarot. Your energy signature grows more contaminated by the hour." "Arrogant prince. Limited understanding. But powerful. Respect warranted." It's not contamination, Vegeta, Goku countered calmly. "It's evolution. Cayenne is helping me reach new levels of potential, unlocking abilities that were dormant in Saiyan biology." "Abilities our ancestors apparently rejected," Vegeta shot back. "Or have you forgotten the visions we shared? The Saiyan King purged the symbiote-bonded warriors for a reason." The symbiote's manifestation turned toward Vegeta, its approximation of eyes narrowing. "Purge born of fear. King feared replacement. Truth suppressed. History rewritten. Let me guess, the parasite's version of history is the only accurate one." Vegeta's tone dripped with sarcasm. "Actually," Bulma interrupted, her gaze fixed on her monitors, "there might be some truth to what the symbiote is saying." She gestured to a data readout showing what appeared to be genetic information. "I took the liberty of scanning Goku when he arrived. Hope you don't mind, by the way, and the results are fascinating. The symbiote isn't just covering Goku's cells or invading them, it's activating genetic sequences that were already present in his Saiyan DNA." Vegeta frowned, moving closer to examine the display despite his obvious reluctance to show interest. What are you saying, woman? I'm saying, Bulma continued, highlighting specific sections of the genetic readout, that Saiyan DNA appears to have been specifically engineered, or evolved, to be compatible with this type of symbiotic bonding. These receptor sites shouldn't exist naturally, they serve no purpose without a symbiote present. It's as if Saiyans were designed to bond with Clintars. The revelation hung in the air for a moment. Goku looked toward the symbiote's manifestation, which seemed to be waiting for the implications to sink in. If that's true, Goku said slowly, then the ancient connection between our species runs deeper than we thought. It's not just that symbiotes encountered Saiyans, we might have co-evolved somehow. Are designed together, ** the symbiote suggested privately. Higher intelligence intervention possible, Saiyans and Clintars, complementary species. Perfect synergy when united, ** That's absurd, Vegeta scoffed, though with less conviction than before. Saiyans have Aki, even the power of gods through our own evolution and determination. We don't need parasitic enhancement. But what if this was always part of Saiyan potential? Goku countered. What if the legends of the Super Saiyan God and other transformations are just different expressions of the same underlying adaptive capability that makes us compatible with symbiotes? Vegeta didn't immediately respond, his brow furrowed in thought. For all his pride and stubbornness, the prince had always been intelligent and strategically minded. The possibility that their species had a forgotten connection to symbiotic entities clearly troubled him. Before the conversation could continue, however, a piercing alarm erupted from Bulma's monitoring equipment. Red warning lights flashed across multiple screens as data scrolled rapidly. The rift, Bulma exclaimed, fingers flying over controls. It's experiencing a major fluctuation. The three-dimensional display showed the tear expanding dramatically, energy patterns shifting from their previous steady pulse to chaotic, violent surges. The surrounding space-time grid warped severely, indicating significant distortion reaching far beyond the immediate vicinity of the rift. Something's coming through, Goku stated, enhanced senses somehow perceiving the disturbance despite being miles from the actual rift. Something big. The symbiote's manifestation disappeared, retracting into Goku's body as it prepared for potential combat. Energy signature familiar, not hunter. Worse, power user from our universe. Hostile intent. Kaien recognizes the energy signature. Goku informed the others. It's not a hunter this time, it's something worse. A hostile power user from their universe. Vegeta's aura flickered to life around him, the blue energy of Super Saiyan Blue manifesting in response to the potential threat. Then we'll meet it head on. If this visitor wants a fight, they'll learn what it means to challenge Saiyans. Wait, LMA called as both warriors prepared to depart. My sensors indicate the incursion is heading toward West City. Whatever's come through is moving fast, supersonic speeds at least. Then we need to intercept it before it reaches populated areas, Goku decided. He extended his hand toward Vegeta. Instant transmission will get us there faster. For a moment, Vegeta seemed about to refuse on Princi. His pride often prevented him from accepting Goku's assistance. But practicality won out, and he grasped Goku's offered hand with a grunt of acknowledgement. Be careful, Bulma called as Goku raised 2 fingers to his forehead. We don't know what kind of abilities beings from that universe might have. I do. The symbiote responded within Goku's mind as they teleported away. And we should prepare for battle unlike any you've faced before. They rematerialized high above West City, the urban sprawl spread beneath them in the mid-morning sun. Goku's enhanced senses immediately located the disturbance, a streak of crimson energy cutting through the sky from the direction of the rift, moving with deliberate purpose rather than the disorientation the symbiote had exhibited upon arrival. Maxwell Dillon, the symbiote identified grimly, known as Electro in our universe. Electromagnetic manipulation, extremely dangerous, usually confined to lower power levels, but something has enhanced him. The information flowed into Goku's mind along with tactical knowledge, weaknesses, fighting patterns, psychological profile. The streaking crimson energy slowed as it approached the city, resolving into a humanoid figure surrounded by crackling electricity that shifted between red and the more conventional yellow-white of lightning. I can sense his power, Goku remarked, surprised. It's not Ki, but I can still feel it. Cross-dimensional exposure altering energy perception. Your key sense adapting to detect our universe's power signatures. Asterisk. Convenient, Vegeta commented dryly. Now let's see if this intruder can withstand Saiyan might. Before Goku could suggest a more cautious approach, Vegeta shot forward, blue aura blazing around him as he intercepted the electricity-shrouded figure. The collision produced a thunderous boom that echoed across the city, blue and crimson energies clashing in midair. To both Saiyan's surprise, Vegeta was repelled, sent tumbling back. K warred through the air before regaining control. The electric figure laughed, the sound distorted by the energy surrounding him. Is that the best this universe has to offer? The being called out, his voice carrying an unnatural resonance. I expected more after what happened to the hunter who came through yesterday. Goku moved forward, positioning himself between the intruder and the city below. You're Electro, right? You're a long way from home. The figure's eyes widened slightly, crackling with internal electricity. You know me, interesting. Then you should also know to get out of my way. I'm not here for the locals, I'm hunting something specific. He seeks us, asterisk the symbiote realized. Can sense our presence. Was following Hunter's trail, asterisk. He's after you, Goku confirmed mentally. What does he want with Clintar's? Quote, power, compatibility. In our universe, Electro attempted symbiote bonding before. Failed, incompatible, dangerous combination, asterisk. Vegeta rejoined Goku, a trick. Plea of blood at the corner of his mouth, the only sign of injury from the initial clash. Whatever you are, he addressed Electro, you've made a mistake coming to this planet. Electro's laugh was like static electricity made audible. This planet is nothing to me. I'm here for the symbiote. I can sense its signature all over you, he pointed at Goku. The Life Foundation will pay handsomely for specimens. Especially ones that can survive interdimensional travel. Life Foundation? Goku questioned. Organization that experiments on our kind. Weaponizes, tortures, creates forced bonds. Enemy. Asterisk. The symbiote isn't for sale or capture, Goku stated firmly. It's bonded with me now, by choice. You should return to your own universe while you still can. Electro's form pulsed with increasing energy. Not an option. The rift is a one-way ticket for now, at least until someone figures out how to stabilize it. Besides, his mouth stretched into an unnatural grin, this universe feels different. My powers are expanding here. I think I'll stay a while. As if to demonstrate, he extended one hand toward a skyscraper below. A lance of crimson electricity shot forth, striking the building's lightning rod. Instead of being safely conducted to ground as designed, the energy seemed to infect the structure's electrical system, lights flashing chaotically as glass shattered from power surges. Your world's energy is so malleable, Electro observed with sadistic pleasure. Less constrained by the natural laws I'm used to. I wonder what else I can do here. He's right, asterisk the symbiote warned. Different universal constants. His electromagnetic manipulation interfacing with this universe's ambient energy differently. Growing stronger. Must contain quickly. Asterisk. Vegeta, Goku said quietly. We need to move this fight away from the city. The Saiyan prince nodded grimly. Agreed. But this creature doesn't seem interested in following us elsewhere. Then we'll have to convince him. Goku felt the symbiote shifting beneath his skin, preparing for combat. Kaian says Electro manipulates electromagnetic energy. His attacks will be lightning-based, extremely fast, and potentially able to disrupt our nervous systems. Quote, wonderful, Vegeta muttered sarcastically. Any weaknesses? Overconfidence. Limited multitasking capability. Insulation can neutralize direct attacks. What? Historically effective but dangerous to employ. Asterisk. Goku relayed this information quickly as Electro continued experimenting with his enhanced powers, sending tendrils of electricity dancing across the city's power grid below, causing scattered blackouts and explosions. Enough playing, Vegeta growled. If he won't follow us, we'll force him away. With blinding speed, the Saiyan Prince launched forward again. This time prepared for the electrical discharge. He dodged the initial defensive burst from Electro, circling around to attack from behind with a precisely aimed ki blast. The energy struck Electro directly, dispersing some of his electrical field momentarily. The villain spun, face contorted with anger, and retaliated with a barrage of lightning bolts that Vegeta was forced to evade in a series of aerial acrobatics. My turn, Goku decided, the symbiote flowing more visibly across his skin as they prepared to engage. Let's show him what we can do together. Synchronizing. Electrical insulation protocols active. Nervous system shielding engaged. Asterisk. Black tendrils spread across Goku's exposed skin as the symbiote provided protection against Electro's attacks. His GI darkened, the orange and blue colors becoming deeper, more saturated, with subtle black patterns weaving through the fabric. Goku shot forward, moving faster than even Vegeta could easily track. The Saiyan Symbiote enhanced his already formidable speed, allowing him to appear almost instantaneously before Electro. The villain barely had time to register surprise before Goku struck, a precision blow aimed at the center of the electrical field surrounding him. The symbiote-enhanced punch penetrated the defensive electricity, connecting solidly with Electro's physical form beneath. The impact sent him hurtling backward, his electromagnetic field fluctuating wildly as he struggled to maintain coherence. What the hell? Electro snarled, stabilizing himself several hundred feet away. How did you penetrate my field? Goku didn't respond verbally. Instead, he pressed the advantage, teleporting behind Electro with instant transmission and delivering a powerful kick that sent the villain plummeting toward the ground. Before he could impact, Goku appeared below him, redirecting his momentum horizontally with another strike that sent him flying away from the city and toward the uninhabited mountains beyond. Vegeta followed, adding his own attacks to the offensive. Working with surprising coordination, the two Saiyans herded Electro away from West City, driving him toward a desolate area where they could fight without endangering civilians. Effective strategy, asterisk the symbiote commented as they pursued Electro. Continuing electrical insulation. Note. Prolonged exposure still dangerous. Field intensity increasing as he adapts. Asterisk. True to the warning, Electro's electrical discharge was growing stronger with each clash. What had started as primarily visual intimidation was becoming genuinely hazardous. With each bolt carrying enough power to vaporize solid rock. You think you can control where this fight happens? Electro shouted, his voice distorting further as his power increased. I'm not some mindless brute. I go where I want. He suddenly reversed direction, shooting past the pursuing Saiyans back toward the city. Goku and Vegeta turned to follow, but Electro had gained a significant lead. Instant transmission suboptimal, asterisk the symbiote warned. Electrical field interferes with precision targeting. Alternative approach required, asterisk. Vegeta, Goku called. Cut him off. I'll try something else. Without waiting for acknowledgement, Goku halted his pursuit and instead focused inward, accessing a different technique. With the symbiote's assistance, he bent space around himself. Not teleporting but rather folding the distance between points, a variation of instant transmission that relied less on precise targeting and more on spatial manipulation. He reappeared directly in Electro's path, startling the villain. Going somewhere? Goku asked, arms crossed calmly. How did? Electro began, then snarled in frustration. It doesn't matter. Get out of my way. He unleashed a massive electrical discharge. A veritable storm of lightning bolts converging on Goku from all directions. The symbiote responded instantly, forming a protective shell around Goku's body. Absorbed and redirected the electrical energy. Adapting to attack pattern. Storing electrical potential. Can redirect. Asterisk. Can we use his own energy against him? Goku asked mentally as he maintained his position despite the continuing barrage. Affirmative. Symbiote structure can channel stored energy. Combining with ki for amplification recommended. Asterisk. Goku nodded, extending one hand toward the increasingly frustrated Electro. The symbiote flowed down his arm, forming a specialized conduit structure beneath the skin. As Goku gathered his ki, the stored electrical energy from Electro's attacks merged with it, creating a hybrid energy sphere that crackled with both powers. What are you doing? Electro demanded, his confidence finally showing cracks as he witnessed his own energy being weaponized against him. Something new, Goku replied simply, then released the combined energy blast. The hybrid attack moved with unprecedented speed, striking Electro before he could evade. The villain's electromagnetic field attempted to absorb the electrical component but was overwhelmed by the ki energy carrying it. The resulting explosion momentarily dispersed Electro's coherent form, ending fragments of living electricity scattering in all directions. Vegeta arrived as the light from the explosion faded, his expression showing reluctant approval. Not bad, Kakarot. The parasite has its uses after all. Not parasite. He's not defeated, Goku warned, ignoring both comments as he tracked the dispersing electrical fragments. He's reforming. Sure enough, the scattered trickle energy was converging again about a mile away, coalescing into Electro's humanoid form. However, the reconstitution appeared difficult, his shape fluctuating unstably as he struggled to maintain coherence. You've made a serious mistake, Electro called, his voice weaker but filled with rage. I was just exploring before, but now. His form pulsed ominously. Now I'm going to show you what I can really do in this universe. With a scream of effort, Electro expanded his electromagnetic field dramatically, drawing power from every available source, the city's distant power grid, the natural electromagnetic field of the planet itself, even the ambient energy in the atmosphere. His crimson aura grew blindingly bright, expanding to engulf a significant portion of the sky. Power levels exceeding predictions, the symbiote warned. Universal constant differences enabling enhanced electromagnetic manipulation. Threat level severe. We need to end this quickly, Goku told Vegeta. He's tapping into the planet's electromagnetic field somehow, drawing more power than he should be able to control. Vegeta's blue aura intensified as he prepared for a more serious confrontation. Then we stop holding back. Super Saiyan Blue at full power should be sufficient to overwhelm whatever electrical tricks this creature possesses. Wait, Goku cautioned. The symbiote thinks we need a different approach. His electrical field is getting too dangerous for direct attacks. Suggest energy disruption rather than physical assault. He can interfere with electromagnetic wavelength if precisely calibrated. Goku relayed this strategy quickly as Electro continued gathering power, the air around him beginning to ionize visibly, creating a plasma-like effect that distorted light itself. Fine, Vegeta conceded grudgingly. You create the disruption, I'll follow with the assault. Nodding agreement, Goku closed his eyes briefly, concentrating as the symbiote assisted him in recalibrating his key signature. When his eyes opened again, they had changed, still his natural dark color, but now with subtle black tendrils visible in the iris, the symbiote integrating more deeply with his sensory organs to enhance perception of electromagnetic wavelengths. Ready, he announced, raising both hands toward the expanding electrical storm that Electro had become. Rather than a conventional energy blast, Goku released a precisely modulated wave of ki that appeared almost invisible except for a subtle rippling effect in the air. The wave passed through Electro's electrical field, seemingly without effect at first. Then, like a stone thrown into a pond, ripples began to spread throughout the electromagnetic storm, disrupting its coherence from within. What are you doing? Electro shrieked, his voice distorting as his control wavered. Stop that, now, Vegeta, Goku called. The Saiyan Prince needed no further prompting. With a roar of effort, he channeled his energy into one of his signature techniques. Final flash. The massive beam of concentrated ki energy struck the destabilized electromagnetic field directly. Without its usual coherence, Electro's defenses didn't properly absorb or redirect the attack. The energy tore through the electrical storm, finding the core of Electro's physical form within and engulfing it completely. The resulting explosion lit up the sky like a second sun, the shock wave racing outward to flatten trees for miles around. When visibility returned, Electro's form had been reduced to scattered electrical sparks that no longer showed signs of sentience or cohesion. Not destroyed, the symbiote assessed. Energy pattern dispersed beyond reassembly threshold. Consciousness disrupted. Effective neutralization. Is he dead? Vegeta asked bluntly, powering down from Super Saiyan Blue as the immediate threat passed. No, Goku replied, the symbiote's assessment flowing through their bond. But he's dispersed so widely that he can't reform his consciousness. He's essentially in a coma, spread across the atmosphere. HMPH. Mercy seems wasted on such an opponent. It's not about mercy, Goku explained. If we'd destroyed him completely, the energy release might have further destabilized the rift. This way, his energy will gradually dissipate harmlessly. Vegeta studied Goku with narrowed eyes. That's not your usual reasoning, Kakarot. The parasite's influence is showing. Before Goku could respond, his enhanced senses detected another energy signature approaching rapidly from the direction of Capsule Corp. Oration. Bulma in one of her high-speed aircraft. The sleek vehicle came into view moments later, hovering nearby as Bulma examined readouts on her instruments. The energy surge from your battle affected the rift, she called through the craft's external speakers. It's accelerating the expansion rate. We need to implement the containment plan immediately. Concerning development, the symbiote commented. Interdimensional barrier weakening faster than predicted. More incursions likely. We're on our way, Goku called back, preparing to teleport to Bulma's position. As they converged to address this new crisis, the symbiote stirred within him, conveying an unmistakable sense of foreboding. First visitor was Hunter. Second was Power User. Next will be worse. Heroes will notice. Villains will exploit. Dimensions blurring. We'll handle whatever comes through, Goku assured his partner confidently. Together, the symbiote's response carried both appreciation for his optimism and realistic concern. Together, yes, but universe beyond Rift contains entities beyond imagining. Pray they remain uninterested in this new pathway between worlds. As they joined Bulma to discuss containment strategies, Goku couldn't shake the feeling that their battle with Electro was merely a prelude, the opening skirmish in what promised to become a much larger conflict as two universes, EAC-H with their own rules and beings of immense power, began to bleed into one another. The foreign power he'd welcomed into himself had proven valuable, but as he caught Vegeta's concerned glance, Goku wondered if the price of this new strength might be higher than anyone yet realized. Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, Parallel Threats. 3 days after their battle with Electro, Goku stood atop a remote plateau in the mountains. Eyes closed in deep concentration. The wind whipped around him, tugging at his GI, still the symbiote generated orange and blue, but now with subtle black patterns that shifted and moved of their own accord. The morning sun cast long shadows across the rocky terrain, illuminating the small craters and scorch marks that evidenced days of intensive training. Again, the symbiote urged. Integration still incomplete. Control parameters unstable. Goku nodded, centering himself before calling forth his ki. Golden energy erupted around him as he transformed, Super Saiyan. Aura blazing brilliantly against the clear sky. The symbiote responded immediately, black tendrils weaving through the golden flames, creating a mesmerizing dance of light and shadow. Kaioken, Goku shouted, pushing beyond the Super Saiyan state. The resulting power surge was spectacular, and catastrophic. Red energy interwove with the gold and black, forming a triple-layered aura that pulsed with barely contained power. Rocks levitated around him, pulverized to dust seconds later by the sheer pressure of energy radiating from his form. For 3 heartbeats, Goku maintained control, the symbiote working frantically to stabilize the chaotic energy flows. Then, like a dam breaking, the power exceeded their combined ability to contain it. The plateau beneath his feet shattered, a shock avenue of energy blasting outward in all directions. When the dust settled, Goku floated above a newly formed crater, breathing heavily, the symbiote visibly rippling across his skin as it worked to repair the cellular damage caused by the failed technique. Still not there, he panted, allowing the transformations to fade as he descended to what remained of the plateau's edge. Progress nonetheless, the symbiote assured him. Duration extended 1.7 seconds longer than previous attempt. Energy containment improved 24% before failure. Not enough for a real battle, Goku observed, sitting cross-legged on a boulder to rest. If we can't maintain the combined form for more than a few seconds, it's too risky to use. The symbiote formed a small manifestation beside him, the now familiar HEA-D-like shape that it used for direct communication. Integration between Saiyan transformations and symbiote biology is unprecedented. Adaptation requires time, Goku nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. Over the past 3 days, they had made significant progress in many areas: basic strength enhancement, sensory amplification, energy manipulation, but combining the symbiote with Super Saiyan forms remained frustratingly difficult. Maybe we're approaching this wrong, he suggested. Instead of trying to overlay the symbiote on top of Super Saiyan, what if we looked for something new? The Ant Saiyan Clintar warriors you showed me, they had their own unique transformations, right? The manifestation rippled thoughtfully. Correct. Ancient bonded warriors developed distinct power expressions. Not Super Saiyan as you know it. Something different. Something integrated. So instead of forcing the symbiote to adapt to transformations that evolved after your kind left planet Vegeta, we should be looking for the original path, the one that was lost when the king purged the bonded warriors. Precisely. The symbiote agreed, its manifestation dissipating as it returned to communicating mentally. Ancient genetic memory might provide template. Requires deeper integration, however. Current bond at 64% potential. The percentage had increased steadily from the 37% the symbiote had initially reported, reflecting their growing synchronization. Still, Goku understood the implication. To access these ancient powers, they would need to deepen their bond further, something that I read mutual trust and acceptance that was still developing. What's holding us back? He asked directly. Mutual hesitation. Your instinctive resistance to full cellular integration. My caution regarding your extraordinary power levels. Balance difficult. Goku appreciated the symbiote's honesty. Despite their increasingly effective partnership, both retained a degree of independence. He unconsciously maintained certain barriers. And the symbiote respected them, perhaps even sharing similar reservations. Let's head back, he decided, rising to his feet. Bulma wanted us at Capsule Corp by noon to test the new containment field. And Chi-Chi's expecting us for breakfast before that. Mate prepared extensive meal, can detect specific protein compounds from this distance. Impressive cooking methods. Goku laughed, still amused by the symbiote's appreciation for Chi-Chi's cooking. Over the past days, they'd discovered that the Clintar didn't just enjoy chocolate as initially stated. Chi had developed an enthusiastic appreciation for all manner of Earth foods, experiencing them through Goku's senses with childlike wonder. She's been trying new recipes with extra protein and those phenethylamine compounds you like. Goku confirmed as he took to the air, flying toward home at a leisurely pace to conserve energy after their intense training. I think she's trying to feed both of us separately. Thoughtful consideration strengthens respect for mate bond. Your offspring returns today as well. Yeah, Gohan's bringing Vital and Pan for breakfast too. He's been researching some ancient texts about Saiyan history, hoping to find more information about the symbiote connection. The symbiote's interest was palpable. Scholar warrior offspring impressive. Dual cultivation of mind and body. Rare combination. Worthy of respect. As they flew over familiar mountains, Goku reflected on how quickly the symbiote had integrated not just with his body but with his life. It showed genuine interest in his family and friends, offered insights without attempting to control his actions, and seemed genuinely committed to their partnership. The initial wariness he'd felt had largely dissipated, replaced by growing trust. Their modest mountain home came into view, smoke rising cheerfully from the chimney despite the warm morning. Chi-Chi preferred cooking over a traditional fire rather than using the modern appliances Bulma had provided. Through the kitchen window, Goku could see her moving efficiently about the space, preparing what appeared to be enough food for a small RMY, or a single Saiyan and his symbiotic partner. Goku landed softly in the yard, the symbiote automatically adjusting his GI to appear freshly cleaned rather than showing the effects of their intense training session. It was a small deception, but one that prevented unnecessary worry from Chi-Chi. Consideration for mate's emotions. Good partnership practice. The thought carried a hint of amusement, as if the symbiote was learning the intricacies of marriage alongside everything else about Earth culture. Goku smiled as he entered the house, the delicious aromas intensified by his enhanced senses. I'm back, he called cheerfully. Chi-Chi turned from the stove, a spatula in one hand and a slight sheen of perspiration on her forehead from cooking. Perfect timing, everything's almost ready, Gohan called. They're running a few minutes late because Pan wanted to bring something for Kaien. She smiled, revealing complete acceptance of the symbiote as part of their family unit. Something for Kaien, Goku repeated, curious. Apparently she's been drawing pictures of what she thinks the symbiote looks like based on what Gohan told her. Chi-Chi returned to flipping pancakes with practiced efficiency. She's very excited to meet her grandfather's new friend. The symbiote stirred with what felt like pleased embarrassment. Child acceptance without fear. Remarkable. Different from typical human response in our universe. Asterisk. Well, our family's pretty used to unusual situations, Goku replied mentally as he moved to help Chi-Chi by setting the table, another small change influenced by the symbiote, which had gently encouraged more consideration for his wife's efforts. As Goku arranged plates and utensils, Chi-Chi glanced at him with a knowing expression. Training didn't go well this morning, did it? He blinked in surprise. How could you tell? You always get that little crease between your eyebrows when you're stuck on a problem, she explained, transferring a mountain of pancakes to a serving platter. And you're moving differently, like you're sore but trying not to show it. Made extremely perceptive. Observational skills exceptional. Asterisk. Kyan's impressed with how well you can read me. Goku translated, earning a small, proud smile from Chi-Chi. Years of practice, she replied simply. So what's the problem with the training? Goku explained the difficulties they were encountering with integrating the symbiote and his Super Saiyan transformations, along with their theory about needing to discover a different approach based on the ancient Saiyan-Clintar connection. Chi-Chi listened attentively while continuing her food preparation. When he finished, she nodded thoughtfully. It makes sense. You're trying to force two different evolutionary paths to merge when they might not be compatible in that way. It would be like, she searched for an analogy he would understand, like trying to perform fusion dance with someone using completely different key control techniques. The comparison struck Goku as remarkably apt. That's exactly it. We need to find the original path that the ancient Saiyans and symbiotes developed together, not force the symbiote to adapt to transformations that evolved separately. Chi-Chi smiled at his enthusiasm. Sometimes the direct approach isn't best, even for you, Goku. The sound of an approaching vehicle interrupted their conversation, Gohan's family arriving. Moments later, the front door burst open as a small, energetic figure rushed in. Grandpa, is your alien friend still with you? Pan called excitedly, clutching a stack of papers to her chest. Goku laughed, kneeling to embrace his granddaughter. Yes, Kyan is still here. Do you want to say hello? Pan nodded eagerly, her eyes wide with anticipation. Goku glanced toward Chi-Chi, who gave an encouraging nod. With gentle control, he allowed the symbiote to partially manifest, not the small head formation it used for direct communication, but a swirl of black tendrils that emerged from his hand to form a simple, non-threatening pattern in the air before Pan. Rather than showing fear, the Quarter Saiyan child giggled delightedly. It looks like dancing shadows. She thrust forward her drawings. I made these for you, Mr. Kyan. The symbiote formed a tendril to carefully take the offered papers, displaying them so Goku could see as well. The childish drawings showed various interpretations of what the symbiote might look like, everything from a friendly black cloud with eyes to a dragon-like creature wrapped around a stick figure presumably representing Goku. Gift from offspring's offspring. Significant honor. First time receiving artwork. Emotional response. Unexpected. Asterisk. Goku felt the symbiote's genuine emotion, a mixture of surprise, pleasure, and something deeper that might be called tenderness in a human. Kyan says thank you very much, Pan. This is the first time anyone has ever drawn pictures for it. Really? Pan seemed shocked by this revelation. Doesn't it have friends who make art in its universe? The innocent question carried more weight than the child realized. The symbiote hesitated before forming its small head manifestation to respond directly, its voice gentler than usual. My kind rarely receives gifts. Often feared, not understood. Your drawing's very special to me. Pan beamed with pride. I'll make more. Can you make shapes with your black stuff? Pan, don't overwhelm them, Gohan cautioned as he entered with Vital. He nodded respectfully to the symbiote's manifestation. Good morning, Kyan. Dad. Morning, son. Goku greeted cheerfully. How's the research going? Gohan's expression brightened with academic enthusiasm. Actually, I found something fascinating in some pre-Saiyan Empire texts. There are references to what translates roughly as shadow warriors, or void-bonded champions that predate even the earliest known Saiyan monarchy. The Symbiote's manifestation turned toward Gohan with keen interest. Can show these references. Might correlate with genetic memory fragments. I brought everything, Gohan confirmed, patting his satchel. But it's mostly fragments. The historical records were already ancient when Vegeta's ancestors began their written histories. Breakfast first, ancient alien history later, Chi-Chi interrupted firmly. Placing the last serving dishes on the table. Everything will get cold while you all stand around talking about Shadow Warriors. The meal that followed was surprisingly normal despite its unusual participants. A traditional family breakfast except for the occasional black tendril that would emerge to sample particular dishes with special enthusiasm, and Pan's endless questions about what the symbiote could do. Can you make swords? Can you turn into animals? Can you make Grandpa fly faster? Can you talk to other aliens? Do you like ice cream? The symbiote answered each question patiently, clearly charmed by the child's curiosity. Goku watched the interaction with amusement, noticing how Gohan observed with both scientific interest and paternal protectiveness, while vitals seemed to be gradually relaxing her initial wariness. You mentioned visiting Bulma later, Gohan said during a brief lull in Pan's questioning. How's the containment field progressing? Goku's expression grew more serious. Slowly. The rift's still growing. Not as fast since we defeated Electro, but steadily. Bulma's developed a temporary containment field to slow the expansion, but the permanent solution is trickier. The quantum frequencies are the issue, Gohan guessed, his scientific knowledge allowing him to grasp problems that often eluded his father. Matching the exact dimensional resonance of the other universe would require precise calibration. Offspring correct. Impressive scientific understanding. Calibration challenge significant. Asterisk. Kyan says you're right, Goku translated. The symbiote has been helping provide data about its universe's quantum signature, but translating that into something Bulma's technology can use is complicated. Perhaps I could help, Gohan offered. My understanding of interdimensional physics isn't extensive, but I've done some research on related theories. That would be great. Bulma could use another scientific mind on this. As EY continued discussing the rift situation, Goku felt the symbiote grow suddenly alert, its attention shifting outward. Energy disturbance. Not at rift. Elsewhere. Familiar signature. Concerning. Asterisk. Goku paused mid-bite, extending his senses. The symbiote was right. There was a disturbance, not the chaotic energy of the dimensional rift but something more focused, more deliberate. And it was coming from the Dragon Balls, he realized aloud, interrupting the ongoing conversation. Someone's gathering the Dragon Balls. Gohan frowned. Who? We don't have any active threats right now that would know about them, do we? It's not a familiar energy signature, Goku confirmed, closing his eyes to concentrate better. With the symbiote enhancing his senses, he could detect subtle details previously beyond his perception. It feels like Electro, but different. Same universe, different type of power. Recognize pattern, asterisk the symbiote confirmed grimly. Norman Osborn. Green Goblin. Highly intelligent. Technologically enhanced. Dangerous. Asterisk. Kyan recognizes it, Goku explained to his family. Another being from the symbiote's universe, someone called the Green Goblin. Apparently he's highly intelligent and dangerous. How would someone from another universe know about the Dragon Balls? Vital asked, the logical question that was on everyone's mind. The answer struck Goku and the symbiote simultaneously. Database. Hunter technology. Scan capabilities. Must have accessed information networks after arrival. Asterisk. The hunter that came through first, Goku explained. It must have scanned Earth's information networks, gathered data about this world. When this goblin person came through, he could have accessed that information. Gohan stood, his expression serious. If so, one with hostile intent from another universe gets their hands on the Dragon Balls. He didn't need to finish the thought. Everyone present understood the implications. Unlimited wishes granted to someone unfamiliar with their world's natural limits could be catastrophic. I need to intercept him, Goku decided, rising from the table. Before he can gather all seven. Chi-Chi looked concerned. But didn't object. Another sign of how their relationship had matured over the years. Be careful. If this person is as intelligent as Kyan says, he won't be easy to outmaneuver. I'll come with you, Gohan offered. already removing his glasses. Goku shook his head. No, son, I need you to go to Bulma's as planned. The rift is still the bigger threat. If it keeps expanding, more beings like this goblin will come through. Fixing that has to be the priority. Tactical assessment correct. Rift containment primary objective. We'll handle Dragon Ball threat together. Asterisk. Gohan hesitated but nodded agreement. All right, but keep in contact, and if you need backup, I'll call, Goku promised. Besides, I've got Kaian with me. We can handle one visitor from another universe. The symbiote's unspoken concern flickered through their bond. Osborn was no ordinary opponent, and there was something troubling about how quickly he had identified and targeted the Dragon Balls. But it kept these reservations private, not wanting to worry Goku's family unnecessarily. After hasty goodbyes and Chi-Chi insisting on packing some food for both of them, Goku stepped outside, focusing on the distant energy signature that was moving with purpose across the continent. Current trajectory suggests possession of Dragon Radar equivalent. Technology adapted quickly to this universe's energy patterns. Asterisk. That's not good, Goku muttered. If he has something that can track the Dragon Balls specifically, he must have really detailed information about our world. Osborn brilliant inventor. Adaptive intelligence. Dangerous combination with new environments possibilities. Asterisk. Placing 2 fingers to his forehead, Goku prepared to teleport. Let's see just how brilliant he is against a Saiyan and a symbiote working together. The instant transmission activated, enhanced by the symbiote's abilities. They rematerialized high above a mountainous region, Goku immediately spotting a strange sight. Bell. Ow! A humanoid figure on what appeared to be a mechanical glider, hovering above a small village nestled in the valley. The figure wore green armor with distinctly Halloween-inspired aesthetic elements, a goblin-like mask covering his face. Pointed ears extending from his helmet, and a general silhouette that managed to appear both comical and menacing simultaneously. In one gauntleted hand, he held an orange sphere that gleamed in the sunlight, unmistakably a Dragon Ball. 5th Dragon Ball, asterisk. The symbiote assessed. 2 more remaining, 1 nearby, 1 at Capsule Corporation, Bulma's collection. Asterisk. We need to stop him before he gets the 6th, Goku decided, assessing the situation quickly. Better to approach cautiously though. If he's as smart as you say, he might have countermeasures even against abilities he's never encountered before. The symbiote appreciated this unexpected tactical caution from the normally direct Saiyan. Agree. Osborn paranoid, prepares for unknowns. Suggest energy signature suppression. Stealth approach. Asterisk. Nodding agreement. Goku allowed the symbiote to spread more completely across his external surface, forming a sleek, black covering that absorbed light rather than reflecting it. His key signature dampened to near imperceptibility as they descended slowly, approaching from behind as the goblin appeared to be consulting some device in his hand, likely his Dragon Ball locator. They were within 50 feet when the goblin spoke without turning. I was wondering when one of this world's defenders would show up. His voice carried a cultured intelligence beneath a layer of manic energy. Though I must say, you're not what I expected based on the data I acquired. He turned, revealing a fixed mask with an unnervingly permanent grin and glowing yellow eyes that showed no surprise at Goku's symbiote-enhanced appearance. Interesting. A Clintar symbiote, if I'm not mistaken. How fascinating to find one in this universe as well. Goku hovered in place, maintaining distance while assessing this new threat. You seem to know a lot about things that should be completely foreign to you. The goblin chuckled, a sound that managed to be both amused and threatening. Knowledge is power, my friend. And when I came through that delightful tear in reality, I made it my first priority to understand this new playground thoroughly. He gestured with the Dragon Ball in his hand. And what a playground it is. A world where 7 mystical objects can grant any wish. Where beings manipulate an energy called ki to perform what amounts to magic. The scientific applications alone are worth the interdimensional trip. Cautious, asterisk. The symbiote warned privately. Pumpkin bombs, razor bats, chemical weapons, enhanced strength, tactical genius despite apparent insanity. Asterisk. You need to return that Dragon Ball, Goku stated firmly. And then go back to your own universe. You don't belong here. Go back. The goblin's mechanical laughter echoed across the valley. My dear fellow, Why would I ever want to go back? This universe is a land of opportunity. No Spider-Man to interfere, no Avengers to complicate matters, and power systems completely unknown in my world that I've only begun to study. He patted his glider affectionately. I've already modified my equipment to incorporate some of your world's energy principles. Quite effective improvements, I must say. Goku noticed the subtle glow emanating from the glider. Somehow, the goblin had managed to incorporate key reactive technology into his equipment in the short time he'd been in their universe. The symbiote's assessment of his intelligence wasn't exaggerated. The Dragon Balls aren't toys, Goku warned. They have consequences and limitations you don't understand. Oh, I understand plenty, the goblin countered. His fixed grin somehow becoming more menacing. A negative energy buildup with each use. A dispersion period afterward. Even specific limitations on certain types of wishes. He tapped the side of his helmet. As I said, knowledge is power. And unlike the brutes who typically seek these artifacts in your world, I plan to use them with scientific precision. He's stalling. The symbiote realized suddenly. Detection equipment active. Scanning our abilities. Preparing countermeasures. Asterisk. The warning came just as the goblin made a casual gesture with his free hand. Small objects detached from his glider, shooting toward Goku with remarkable speed, projectiles that the symbiote instantly identified as dangerous. Pumpkin bombs. Sonic emitters incorporated. Asterisk. Goku reacted instantly, the symbiote enhancing his already superhuman reflexes. He dodged most of the projectiles, but one detonated close enough to release a concentrated sound wave that caused the symbiote to recoil painfully, momentarily destabilizing their unified form. So the symbiote weaknesses remain consistent across universes, the goblin observed with clinical interest. Sonic disruption and, I presume, extreme heat would also prove effective. Useful data. Recovering quickly, Goku pressed forward, closing the distance before the goblin could deploy more sonic weapons. The symbiote flowed back into cohesion, reinforcing his strike as he aimed a precisely calculated blow, strong enough to incapacitate but not kill. The goblin's glider veered with unexpected agility, its response time seemingly anticipating the attack. Predictable, the goblin taunted, countering with a concentrated beam of energy from his gauntlet that contained properties similar to concentrated sound waves. Goku twisted midair to avoid the worst of the beam, the symbiote partially detaching from his exposed side to minimize contact with the harmful frequencies. He retaliated with a small ki blast, carefully aimed at the glider's propulsion system rather than the goblin himself. The energy struck its target, but instead of damaging the glider, it seemed to be absorbed, the mechanical platform glowing brighter for a moment. Energy conversion system, the goblin explained proudly. Adapted from data on this world's absorption techniques. Your energy attacks only make my equipment stronger, I'm afraid. Adapting too quickly, the symbiote warned. Understanding our capabilities, developing counters immediately. Must end confrontation rapidly, Goku agreed, deciding to escalate. Beyond what the goblin could have prepared for. Let's see how your equipment handles this, then. Golden light erupted around him as he transformed into Super Saiyan, the symbiote struggling momenta. Riley to integrate with the sudden energy surge before adapting, black tendrils weaving through the golden aura in now familiar patterns. The combined power radiated outward, creating visible distortions in the air. For the first time, the goblin's confident demeanor faltered slightly. His glider drifted backward as sensors on his armor visibly overloaded, small sparks erupting from several points in his technical systems. Fascinating, he murmured, genuine scientific interest momentarily overriding his antagonism. A complete cellular energy transformation. The readings are off the charts. Taking advantage of the goblin's distraction, Goku moved with Super Saiyan speed, appearing directly before him and plucking the Dragon Ball from his grasp before the villain could react. I'll be taking this, Goku stated firmly. And now we can talk about you returning to your universe without further trouble. Rather than appearing defeated, the goblin's fixed mask somehow conveyed amusement. You misunderstand the situation entirely. This was merely a data-gathering exercise. He tapped commands into his gauntlet, his glider stabilizing as its systems recalibrated. I've collected tremendous information about your abilities. This world's energy systems, and the artifacts themselves. Well worth the loss of one Dragon Ball. Warning signals flashed through the symbiote's consciousness. Deception. The ball. Before Goku could react to the warning, the Dragon Ball in his hand emitted a pulse of energy unlike anything he'd felt before. Not the natural energy of the mystical spheres, but something artificial, invasive. The pulse shot up his arm, the symbiote instinctively moving to intercept and contain the foreign energy. Nanite Delivery System, * the symbiote identified as I. Chi struggled to neutralize the microscopic machines flooding into Goku's system. Advanced technology, attempting to override nervous system. *. What did you do? Goku demanded, his body momentarily streaked. If anything as the symbiote fought the nanite invasion. The goblin's laugh held genuine delight. Insurance policy. That particular Dragon Ball has been temporarily modified with technology from my universe, enhanced with elements from yours. The nanites now entering your system are designed to collect data directly from your cellular structure. Goku felt the symbiote working frantically within him, identifying and neutralizing the invasive technology. It was succeeding, but the process required significant focus, temporarily limiting their offensive capabilities. Neutralization at 42%. 61%. Nanites adaptive but inferior to symbiote cellular control. *. You should feel honored, the goblin continued, his glider ascending as he prepared to depart. Your unique biology, particularly the interaction between Saiyan cells and the symbiote, will provide invaluable research data. Consider it your contribution to scientific advancement across universes. With the symbiote still occupied fighting the nanite infestation, Goku couldn't pursue immediately. He watched in frustration as the goblin activated some form of propulsion enhancement, his glider shooting away at speeds that would require Super Saiyan pursuit to match. Neutralization at 89%. 97%. Complete. Nanite threat eliminated. *. Can we catch him? Goku asked, already gathering energy to transform again. Unnecessary. *. The symbiote replied. Tracker placed during initial physical contact. Can follow at leisure. More concerning. Nanite technology attempted to collect data on both Saiyan physiology and symbiote biology. Purpose unclear but concerning. *. Goku looked down at the Dragon Ball in his hand, still genuine despite the technological modifications, its 4 stars visible beneath the crystalline surface. Least we kept him from getting this one. That leaves only 2 more, one nearby and one at Capsule Corporation. Recommend securing nearby ball next, then returning to Capsule Corporation to warn of potential infiltration attempt. Nodding agreement, Goku focused his senses on the energy signature of the nearest Dragon Ball, using instant transmission to teleport directly to its location, a small shrine in the nearby village where it was being displayed as a gift from the gods by the local population. After a brief explanation to the village elder and a demonstration of power that the gods wanted Goku to safeguard the artifact, they secured the 6th Dragon Ball. With 2 in their possession, Goku teleported directly to Capsule Corporation, materializing in Bulma's primary laboratory where she was working alongside Gohan on the dimensional stabilizer. Goku! Bulma exclaimed, nearly dropping a delicate component in surprise. A little warning next time. Sorry, Bulma, but it's an emergency. Goku explained quickly. Someone from the other universe is after the Dragon Balls. He already has 4 of them, and he might be coming here for the one in your collection. Bulma's expression shifted instantly from annoyance to alarm. What? How would someone from another universe even know about the Dragon Balls? As Goku explained the situation with the Green Goblin, including the nanite-modified Dragon Ball and the villain's alarming ability to adapt their world's technology to his own, Gohan examined the Dragon Balls they'd recovered. The nanites are completely neutralized, he confirmed, addressing both his father and the symbiote. The symbiote formed its speaking manifestation to respond directly. Affirmative. All invasive technology isolated and deconstructed. However, unknown quantity of data transmitted before neutralization completed. Osborn now possesses partial information about Saiyan symbiote integration. That's not good, Bulma muttered, already typing commands into her security system. If he's as brilliant as you say, even incomplete data could help him develop specific countermeasures. Where's your Dragon Ball? Goku asked, glancing around the laboratory. Vault Level 3, maximum security, Bulma replied without looking up from her console. After everything we've been through, I developed a specialized containment system just for the Dragon Balls. It's key-shielded, biometrically locked, and an alarm suddenly blared throughout the complex, red warning lights flashing along the walls. Bulma's fingers flew across her keyboard. Security camera feeds appearing on multiple monitors around the laboratory. Impossible, she gasped, staring at one screen that showed the interior of what appeared to be a high-tech vault. The door remained securely closed, but inside, a strange green mist was seeping through ventilation systems that should have been completely sealed. The mist coalesced into a humanoid shape, the Green Goblin, somehow materializing inside the locked vault. How did he bypass all my security? Bulma demanded incredulously. Gaseous transformation, * the symbiote identified. New ability. Must have adapted technology using data from this universe. Molecular dispersion similar to your instant transmission but without requiring energy signature targeting. On the screen, they watched helplessly as the goblin solidified completely, approached a pedestal containing the 7-star Dragon Ball, and casually collected it. He looked directly at the security camera, gave a mocking bow, and then dispersed into mist again, seeping back through the ventilation system. He's got 5 now, Goku realized grimly. And we have 2. It's going to come down to a direct confrontation. Bulma was already initiating lockdown procedures, but her expression suggested she knew it was likely too late. If he can transform into gas, most physical barriers won't stop him. We need a different approach. We need to find him before he finds us, Gohan suggested. Dad, can you and Kaian track him using that marker you placed? Affirmative. Tracker utilizing symbiote cellular material. Quantum entangled. Cannot be blocked or detected by conventional means. The symbiote extended a tendril toward one of Bulma's blank monitors, interfacing with it directly. The screen flickered, then displayed a topographical map of the region with a pulsing green dot moving rapidly away from Capsule Corporation. He's heading west, Goku observed. Toward the lookout. Den and Mr. Popo. Gohan realized with alarm. The lookout would register as a concentration of unusual energy to any scanning technology. He might think there's a Dragon Ball there. Or he might be after something else entirely, Bulma suggested grimly. The lookout contains some of the most powerful artifacts on Earth. The Pendulum Room, the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, not to mention whatever other mystical items are street or there that even we don't know about. The implications were disturbing. If the goblin gained access to the lookout's ancient technologies and somehow combined them with his own advanced science from another universe. I need to intercept him, Goku decided immediately. Gohan, stay with Bulma and protect the Dragon Balls we have. If the goblin can transform into gas, he might come back for them. What about the rift? Bulma reminded him. We were supposed to test the containment field today. It's still expanding, Goku. Prioritize immediate threat. The symbiote suggested. Osborne, with access to lookout technology represents critical danger. Rift expansion rate suggests containment field test can be delayed 4 to 6 hours without significant additional risk. Goku relayed this assessment, then added, besides, we need Den alive and well if things go really wrong. He's still our best backup plan. The reminder of the Guardian of Earth's healing abilities, and his connection to the original creator of the Dragon Balls, was sobering. Bulma nodded reluctantly. Go. But be careful, Goku. This goblin person seems to analyze and adapt to new threats with remarkable speed. Don't underestimate him just because he's not using ki. We won't, Goku promised, the symbiote's wariness of Osborne's intelligence having already impressed upon him the need for caution. He placed the 2 Dragon Balls they'd collected on Bulma's workbench. Keep these safe. We'll handle the goblin. With determination setting his features, Goku used instant transmission once more, focusing on the familiar energy signatures at the lookout. As he vanished, Bulma and Gohan exchanged worried glances, both recognizing that this new threat represented something different from their usual enemies, a brilliant mind from another universe. Unbound by their world's conventional limitations, and rapidly adapting to incorporate the best aspects of both realities. The lookout materialized around Goku as he completed the teleportation, appearing on the pristine white tiles of the ancient floating platform. Immediately, He sensed something wrong. The normally tranquil atmosphere was disturbed, the air carrying traces of an acrid chemical scent that his enhanced senses identified as foreign and artificial. "Dend, Mr. Popo," he called out, moving quickly toward the central building. "Caution, asterisk," the symbiote warned. "Chemical traces match goblin formula. Hallucinogenic properties. Neural disruptors. Asterisk." Piccolo emerged from the building, his cape singed and his expression grim. "You're too late, Goku. He's already been here." "Piccolo, are you all right? Where's Dend and Mr. Popo?" "Inside. They'll recover." The Namekian's eyes narrowed as he studied Goku, noting the subtle ways the symbiote had integrated more fully since their last meeting. "Your visitor was most interested in the pendulum room. He released some kind of gas when we tried to stop him. Seemed to affect Dend and Mr. Popo more than me. Namekian physiology more resistant to chemical attack. Different nervous system structure. Asterisk. The pendulum room," Goku repeated with concern. "The ancient chamber allowed users to send their spirits through time and space for observation and training purposes. In the hands of someone like the goblin. What was he doing there?" "Connecting some kind of device to the central mechanism," Piccolo explained. Leading Goku inside, he was talking to himself the whole time. Something about quantum resonance patterns and cross-dimensional stabilization matrices. "When I attempted to stop him, he demonstrated unusual abilities." They entered the lookout's main building, finding Dend and Mr. Popo recovering on cushioned benches, both looking disoriented but not seriously injured. "Goku," Dend greeted weakly. "I'm sorry. He moved so quickly, and the gas he used. I couldn't focus my thoughts to use any abilities against him." "It's not your fault," Goku assured the young guardian. "This enemy is unlike any we've faced before." "Did he take anything besides accessing the pendulum room?" Mr. Popo shook his head. "Nothing that we're aware of. He seemed singularly focused on that room." "He had one of the Dragon Balls with him," Piccolo added. "Seemed to be using it somehow in conjunction with his device. When he finished, he said something about Phase 1 complete. Before transforming into gas and disappearing. Concerning asterisk, the symbiote commented privately. "Pendulum room operates on interdimensional principles. Combined with Dragon Ball energy, potential applications numerous and disturbing. Asterisk. We need to see exactly what he did," Goku decided. "Piccolo, can you show us the pendulum room?" The Namekian nodded, leading them deeper into the lookout. As they walked, Goku filled him in on their earlier encounter with the goblin and the villain's apparent plan to collect all 7 Dragon Balls. "He now has 5 of them," Piccolo summarized grimly. "And you have the other 2 secured at Capsule Corporation. What do you think his wish will be?" "That's what worries me," Goku admitted. "From what Kaian has shared about him, he's not the type to wish for simple power or destruction. He's a scientist at heart, despite his insanity. His wish could be something far more complex and dangerous than we can anticipate. Osborn thinks beyond conventional power paradigms," the symbiote added, forming its speaking manifestation to address Piccolo directly. Asterisk. In our universe, he sought to understand and control the fundamental forces governing reality. Dragon Balls represent shortcut to similar objectives. Asterisk. They arrived at the pendulum room's entrance, an ancient doorway inscribed with symbols that predated even the creation of the lookout itself. Inside, the chamber appeared largely unchanged at first glance, the same circular room with its central mechanism suspended from the ceiling, designed to send participants' consciousness through time and space. But as they moved closer, the modifications became apparent. A small device had been attached to the pendulum mechanism, something that combined the sleek, advanced technology of the Goblin's universe with components that appeared to have been recently manufactured using materials from their world. "He built this in days," Goku marveled, studying the hybrid technology. "Osborn's genius transcends universal boundaries," the symbiote observed. "Device appears to be calibrating pendulum room's dimensional access capabilities with rift parameters." Asterisk. Piccolo's eyes narrowed. Ian, he's trying to control the rift using the lookout's technology. That would align with what he said about Phase 1, Goku realized. But control it how? To close it or to stabilize it for travel? Or something else entirely unknown? Pendulum room technology ancient, principles differ from conventional interdimensional mechanics. Combined with Dragon Ball energy, unprecedented applications possible. Asterisk. As they contemplated the implications, Goku suddenly sensed a familiar energy signature approaching the lookout at high speed, Vegeta, moving with obvious urgency. Moments later, the Saiyan Prince landed on the platform outside, quickly making his way to join them in the pendulum room. "We have a problem," Vegeta announced without preamble. "The woman's sensors have detected a massive energy fluctuation at the rift. It's changing configuration, expanding in some areas, contracting in others, as if being reshaped by an external force." The symbiote's alarm was immediate and intense. Pendulum room connection activated. Osborn using Dragon Balls to manipulate rift structure. Must intervene immediately. Asterisk. It's already starting, Goku realized. Whatever the Goblin planned, he's implementing it now. Even without all 7 Dragon Balls. Perhaps he doesn't need all 7 for this phase of his plan, Piccolo suggested. The Dragon Balls resonate with each other even when separated. 5 might provide sufficient energy for preliminary manipulations. Vegeta's expression darkened. The woman said something similar. She's detected energy patterns from the 2 Dragon Ball LLS in her possession changing in response to whatever is happening with the others. Must proceed to rift immediately. Assess manipulation pattern. Determine Osborn's objective. Asterisk. Goku nodded agreement. Piccolo. Stay here with Dend and Mr. Popo. See if you can safely disconnect that device without causing further problems. Vegeta, will you come with us to the rift? The prince crossed his arms. Of course. I'm not letting you face whatever's happening alone, especially not with that parasite influencing your decisions. Not parasite. The symbiote objected reflexively, though with less heat than before, having grown somewhat accustomed to Vegeta's deliberate provocations. Let's go, Goku said, placing a hand on Vegeta's shoulder and focusing on the rift's energy signature, now distorted in ways that made instant transmission targeting more difficult. The symbiote compensated, enhancing Goku's spatial perception to account for the dimensional distortions. They vanished from the lookout, reappearing high in the atmosphere where the rift hung like a jagged wound in reality. What they saw confirmed their worst fears. The tear had indeed changed, no longer simply expanding, but reshaping itself. Edges becoming more defined, more structured. Sections pulsed with energy that matched the resonance frequency of the Dragon Balls, golden light interwoven with the purple-black energy of the original tier. And hovering before it on his glider, arms raised as if conducting a cosmic orchestra, was the Green Goblin. 5 Dragon Balls orbited around him in a precise pattern, each pulsing in sequence, releasing energy that the villain somehow directed into the rift through a device attached to his chest armor. Magnificent, isn't it? The Goblin called out, somehow aware of their arrival despite having his back turned. The convergence of 2 universal constants, the interdimensional properties of your Dragon Balls and the quantum framework of the multiverse itself. He turned to face them, his fixed mask unable to show expression but his body language conveying unmistakable triumph. I must thank you for the inspiration. When I first arrived and learned about these remarkable artifacts, I immediately recognized their potential, not just for granting wishes, but for manipulating fundamental cosmic forces. What are you doing to the rift? Goku demanded, the symbiote spreading more visibly across his form in preparation for combat. Stabilizing it, of course. The Goblin replied as if it should be obvious. But not closing it. Oh no, that would be such a waste. I'm creating a controlled gateway between universes, one that can be selectively permeable. Vegeta's aura flared blue as he prepared to attack. You're deliberately weakening the barrier between universes. You fool, you have no idea of the consequences. On the contrary, the Goblin countered, his tone shifting from manic to coldly intellectual. I've calculated the consequences with precision. The original tear was chaotic. Yes, allowing random incursions in both directions. But my modifications create a structured pathway, one that can be opened or closed as desired. He's created a door, the symbiote realized with horror. One he believes he can control. Asterisk. And who decides what comes through this door? Goku asked, though he suspected the answer. The Goblin's mechanical laugh echoed unnaturally through the thin atmosphere. Why, I do, of course. The controller of the gateway holds power over both universes. Imagine the possibilities. Selective transfer of technology, energy, even beings between realities. The scientific applications alone are worth any risk. You're insane, Vegeta stated flatly. No single being can control something of this magnitude. The energies involved will eventually destabilize regardless of your calculations. For a moment, the goblin's confident demeanor faltered. Minor fluctuations are anticipated in the model. With all 7 Dragon Balls, the stability matrix would be complete. Even with 5, the framework is functional, if temporary. He needs all 7 to make it permanent, ** the symbiote assessed. Current configuration unstable beyond short duration. ** Goku saw their opportunity. Then we make sure you never get the other 2, he stated firmly. And we dismantle whatever you've done here before it causes catastrophic damage to both our universes. The goblin's posture shifted subtly, his glider repositioning as combat systems activated. I was hoping for cooperation. This universe has so much to offer mine, and vice versa. But if you insist on maintaining the primitive concept of separated realities. He gestured sharply, and the 5 Dragon Balls surrounding him pulsed with intensified energy. The rift responded, a section of its structure opening wider, edges stabilizing into an almost doorway-like configuration. Perhaps some visitors will help you reconsider. The goblin called out as the opening widened further. Through the stabilized section of the rift, Goku and Vegeta could see what appeared to be a cityscape, tall buildings unlike any in their world, streets filled with vehicles of advanced design. And moving toward the opening, drawn by the energy fluctuations or perhaps summoned deliberately by the goblin, were several figures, some flying, some leaping from building to building, all converging on the interdimensional doorway. Multiple entities approaching, ** the symbiote warned. Power signatures diverse. Heroes and villains responding to dimensional disturbance. *, we need to close that opening. Goku decided immediately. Vegeta, can you handle the goblin while Kaiyan and I try to disrupt the energy pattern he's created? The Saiyan Prince smirked, his blue aura intensifying. With pleasure. I've been wanting to test this creature's capabilities myself. Without further discussion, Vegeta launched himself toward the goblin, forcing the villain to break his concentration on maintaining the rift doorway. The Dragon Balls continued their orbital pattern, however, the energy flow now seemingly automatic rather than actively directed. Goku turned his attention to the rift opening. The symbiote analyzing the energy patterns rapidly. Dragon Ball resonance creating stabilization framework. Disrupting energy flow should collapse artificial structure. *, how do we do that? Goku asked, watching with growing concern as the figures on the other side drew closer to the opening. Direct key blast ineffective. Energy would be absorbed into matrix. Need to interrupt orbital pattern of Dragon Balls themselves. Understanding immediately, Goku gathered his energy, transforming into Super Saiyan to enhance his speed. The symbiote adapted quickly, having learned from Air training sessions how to better integrate with this transformation. Black tendrils wove through the golden aura, creating a more stable hybrid form than they had previously achieved. With enhanced speed, Goku shot toward the orbiting Dragon Balls, aiming to disrupt their carefully calculated pattern. The goblin, engaged in aerial combat with Vegeta, noticed the attempt and tried to intervene. No, the stability matrix will collapse catastrophically if disrupted improperly. He warned, genuine alarm replacing his usual manic tone. He's correct, *, the symbiote acknowledged reluctantly. Need controlled disruption. Sequential power reduction rather than sudden pattern break. Adjusting his approach, Goku reached for the first Dragon Ball in the sequence, the symbiote extending from his hands to create a dampening field around the mystical sphere. The effect was immediate. The ball's energy output decreased gradually, its golden glow dimming. The other 4 balls responded, their orbital pattern becoming erratic as the carefully balanced energy distribution faltered. The rift doorway fluctuated, edges becoming less defined as the stabilizing influence weakened. No, the goblin shouted, disengaging from Vegeta to race toward Goku. You're causing a cascade failure. The entire dimensional boundary could collapse. Before either Saiyan could respond, something unexpected happened. From the destabilizing doorway, a figure emerged, moving with incredible agility, shooting what appeared to be a web-like substance that attached to the goblin's glider, using it to pull him fully through the rift and into their universe. The newcomer wore a form-fitting red and blue costume with a web pattern across the red portions, and a mask with large, expressive white eyes. He landed on the goblin's glider with practiced ease, immediately engaging the villain in close combat. "Seriously, Norman," the figure quipped, his voice youthful despite the obvious combat experience his movements displayed. "Interdimensional conquest. That's old school even for you." Spider-Man, *** the symbiote identified, its mental voice carrying complex emotions, recognition, respect, wariness, and something almost like nostalgia. Hero from our universe. Previous host for Clintar named Venom. Complicated history with symbiotes. *** The goblin struggled against Spider-Man's attack, his focus maintaining the rift doorway completely broken. How did you track me through the dimensional barrier? When half of New York's supervillain population suddenly becomes interested in a weird tear in the sky. It's kind of a giveaway, Spider-Man replied, dodging a retaliatory strike with impossible agility. The real question is what you're doing with those fancy bowling balls and why they're messing with the multiverse. The disruption to the goblin's control had immediate effects on the rift. The artificial doorway began collapsing, energy patterns destabilizing rapidly. The Dragon Ball's orbital sequence broke down completely, the 5 spheres shooting off in different directions as their connection was severed. Catastrophic destabilization imminent, ** the symbiote warned. Rift collapsing but energy discharge potential severe. **. Understanding the danger, Goku called out to everyone present, the rift is collapsing. We need to clear the area. Spider-Man, seemingly pros. The situation with remarkable speed despite being in an entirely unfamiliar universe, Webb swung away from the goblin and toward Goku. "Hey, tall, spiky-haired guy who's apparently part symbiote. Any chance you know how to contain an interdimensional energy discharge? Because that's about to get messy." "Containment impossible at this stage," the goblin shouted, his scientific knowledge apparently overriding his antagonism in the face of imminent disaster. "The energy has nowhere to go, it will devastate this entire region. Can absorb portion of discharge, ** the symbiote suggested to Goku. "Risky but possible, redirect energy through key pathways. If I transform to Super Saiyan Blue, I can handle more of the energy," Goku realized, already beginning the transformation. The divine key of Super Saiyan Blue erupted around him, blue aura interweaving with the symbiote's black essence in a display that caused both Spider-Man and the goblin to momentarily pause in awe. "What the hell kind of symbiote is that?" Spider-Man muttered, clearly recognizing the black substance but completely unfamiliar with the key transformation it was integrating with. Vegeta joined Goku, also transforming to his blue state. "Whatever you're planning, Kakarot, I'll match your power. 2 Saiyan gods should be able to contain this discharge." The rift pulsed violently, the artificial structure created by the goblin collapsing inward. Energy that had been carefully channeled was now rebounding chaotically, creating a feedback loop that intensified with each cycle. A high-pitched whine filled air as reality itself seemed to strain under the pressure. "Now," the symbiote urged as the energy reached critical levels. Acting in perfect synchronization, Goku and Vegeta extended their hands toward the collapsing rift, channeling their godly ki to create a containment field. The symbiote enhanced Goku's effort, extending from his body in a network of tendrils that intercepted and redirected portions of the dimensional energy, converting it to forms that could be safely channeled through his ki pathways. The discharge, when it came, was spectacular, a blinding flash of light followed by a shock wave that rippled outward in all directions. The combined efforts of the 2 Saiyan gods and the symbiote managed to contain the worst of it, absorbing and redirecting the energy that would otherwise have devastated the planet below. When visibility returned, the rift remained, the original tear still present, though now returned to its previous state of slow, natural expansion and the artificially stabilized doorway the goblin had created. Goku dropped to one knee in midair, the strain of absorbing so much dimensional energy taking its toll even with the symbiote's assistance. Vegeta remained standing but visibly taxed, his blue aura flickering as he maintained his transformation through sheer willpower. Spider-Man web swung to hover nearby, apparently assessing the situation. "Okay, so that happened. Interdimensional disaster temporarily averted, but we've still got a tear between universes, a megalomaniacal genius with delusions of godhood, and, he gestured toward Goku, whatever you are. No offense, but the symbiote situation in my world is complicated enough without adding, whatever this blue glowy transformation thing is. Explain later, asterisk the symbiote suggested to Goku. Osborne priority, still dangerous, asterisk. Looking around, Goku realized the goblin had used the chaos of the energy discharge as cover to retreat. He was now a distant speck on the horizon, his glider moving at maximum speed away from the confrontation. He's getting away, Vegeta growled, preparing to pursue. Let him go for now, Goku decided, the symbiote's tactical assessment flowing through their bond. We need to secure the Dragon Balls that were released when his control broke. Without all 7, he can't complete whatever he was planning. Spider-Man landed on a floating piece of debris that had been caught in the dimensional energies, balancing perfectly as he surveyed the situation. So those orange balls are important, I take it. Norman seemed pretty obsessed with them. They're called Dragon Balls, Goku explained, allowing his transformation to fade as he recovered his strength. When all 7 are gathered, they can grant wishes, almost any wish. Spider-Man's masked eyes widened expressively. Okay, that explains the supervillain interest. Wish-granting artifacts are definitely in Norman's wheelhouse of things to obsess over and use for world domination. Peter Parker, the symbiote identified privately to Goku. Trustworthy, intelligent, experienced with interdimensional threats, valuable ally in current situation. Asterisk. You know who I am, Goku realized. Addressing Spider-Man directly, or at least, you recognize what's bonded with me. Spider-Man's posture tensed slightly. Yeah, symbiotes and I have history, mostly bad history, if I'm being honest. Though yours seems different somehow. Less murder, why, more cooperative. The symbiote formed its speaking manifestation to address Spider-Man directly. Different circumstances, voluntary bonding, mutual respect. Not all Clintar are like Venom or Carnage. It talks, Spider-Man exclaimed, taking an instinctive step back before catching himself. Sorry, that was rude. It's just in my experience. When symbiotes start talking directly instead of through their hosts, things tend to get messy. Kyan has been nothing but helpful since we bonded, Goku assured him. It's hell. Help us understand what's happening with the rift and the visitors from your universe. Kyan, Spider-Man repeated. It has a name. That's actually kind of nice. The ones I've dealt with usually go for more threatening options like Venom, or Riot, or we're going to eat your spleen. Different symbiote philosophies, some corrupted by negative hosts, some pursue aggression intentionally. Individual choice exists among our kind. Asterisk. As the symbiote explained this to both Goku and Spider-Man, Vegeta returned with one of the scattered Dragon Balls. Found one, he announced brusquely. The others landed too far away to locate quickly without the woman's radar. So that's one supervillain temporarily thwarted, 5 magical wish balls scattered who knows where, a tear in the multiverse that's still very much a problem. And me stuck in a universe that apparently runs on completely different rules than mine, Spider-Man summarized. Just another Tuesday, really. Goku couldn't help but smile at the hero's attempt at humor despite the serious situation. There was something immediately likable about Spider-Man, a combination of quick wit, obvious courage, and a sense of responsibility that reminded him somewhat of his own son Gohan. We should return to Capsule Corporation, he suggested. Bulma will want to know what happened, and we need to secure the Dragon Balls we already have. Capsule Corporation, Spider-Man repeated. That sounds refreshingly corporate and normal compared to Mystical Lookout, or Interdimensional Rift. Should inform him of situation fully, asterisk the symbiote advised. Knowledge of both universes valuable for resolving crisis. Asterisk. Goku nodded agreement. You're welcome to come with us, he offered Spider-Man. We could use your insights about the goblin and your universe. And we might be able to help you get back home once the rift situation is under control. Spider-Man seemed to consider this for a moment before nodding. Well, I did promise Aunt May I'd be home for dinner. But I think she'll understand that, trapped in another dimension, is a pretty good excuse for being late. Lead the way, Mr. Son Goku, he introduced himself with a slight bow. And this is Vegeta, Prince of all Saiyans, Prince of a dead race, Vegeta muttered, though without his usual venom. The title had become more a formality than a point of true bitterness over the years. Spider-Man, the costumed hero replied, though I guess that was obvious from the whole spider theme and web swinging. So, how do we get to this Capsule Corporation place? I am guessing it's not within convenient web swinging distance. In answer, Goku extended his hand. We'll use instant transmission. It's a technique that allows teleportation between points. Spider-Man stared at the offered hand. Teleportation. Right. Because in this universe, apparently that's just something people can do. Sure. Why not? He grasped Goku's hand somewhat hesitantly. Just to be clear, this doesn't involve disintegrating and reintegrating my molecules, does it? Because I've done that before and it's not pleasant. Technically yes, ** the symbiote informed Goku privately. But enhanced by our abilities. Process much more comfortable. Will ensure his molecular structure properly maintained. ** It's perfectly safe, Goku assured him with a smile that didn't quite address the actual question. Vegeta, the Saiyan Prince placed a reluctant hand on Goku's shoulder, and with that, Goku activated the technique, focusing on Bulma's energy signature at Capsule Corporation. E3 figures vanished from the upper atmosphere, leaving behind the damaged but still present rift, a problem temporarily contained but far from resolved, and now complicated by visitors from another universe with their own agendas and abilities. As they rematerialized in Bulma's laboratory, one thing was becoming increasingly clear: the barriers between universes were weakening, and what had begun as a simple case of a symbiote seeking refuge had evolved into something far more complex and potentially catastrophic for both realities. The parallel threats were multiplying, and they were running out of time to address them all. Chapter 3 End. The End. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.